Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Fifer, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Download the Wendy's app today.
Welcome in. It is Steve Sparky Fifer with you. Charlie Hughes, it is back. He is the other side of the glass. As we broadcast live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Ben Badler, Baseball America, will join us coming up at 3 o'clock. They have their top prospects list out today for the Milwaukee Brewers, their offseason edition prospect list. So looking forward to talking to him coming up at 3 o'clock. We'll talk some Admirals hockey. I think it's going to be with John Greenberg, president of the Admirals, coming up as we will do every Wednesday in that last segment of the show at around 4:40, 4:45 in that area. So we'll talk to him as well. We're going to have some other stuff, so may have a couple of surprise guests throughout the show, so stay tuned for that. Before we get into the topics at hand, we're going to talk about the Green Bay Packers. First hour, we'll talk Packers, we'll talk Bucks, and we're going to talk about the Chicago Bears and their place in this division as well. So those are your three topics this hour coming up. We'll start with the Packers. Before we do that, Charlie Hughes, you were at your first Green Bay Packer game.
I was indeed. It was a lot of fun. It's kind of intimidating walking up to the stadium. You know, there's giant crowds sitting out in front. It's not really like organized at all. So everybody's just kind of shoving each other to get to the metal detectors and everything. And then you just see the stairs leading up to the stadium. And as you're walking the stairs, you turn around and you look at the big crowd. You walk into the stadium. It's so cool. It was one of the coolest experiences of my life. It was packed. I don't think there was a single empty spot on the bleachers anywhere in that stadium. Packers fans, Eagles fans. It was a really cool experience. The game wasn't as great as I was hoping it would be, but the overall experience was awesome.
So let's talk about this. First of all, too many Eagles fans. But besides that, what did you do prior to the game? Because weren't you staying in Appleton as of Sunday night?
We were, yeah. So right outside of Appleton, we got there Sunday afternoon.
You should have just crashed at Amy Herman's house. Or John Coon's house.
I thought about it. I told my girlfriend about the slide and everything. Yeah. I thought about it, but you know what? I wanted to be a little respectful, you know.
Andy Herman has a slide that goes through his walls. You and her could have went down the slide a couple of times.
It would have been cool. It would have been cool. Maybe next time I go up there. But again, this time I wanted to, have our own experience.
Right.
So we went up there. We spent the day up there. And then, we got to the game around 5 o'clock-ish. Spent time at Badger State Brewing Company.
Yep.
That was a lot of fun. They had a lot of great beers there. And then we met up with my girlfriend's parents, and they bought us a few drinks and stuff, and we walked up to the stadium, and that took an hour to get into the stadium.
I'm telling you right now, like there are so many tailgate parties, roads closed off. Obviously, you're listening to WNFL in Green Bay, 99.7. You know all about this. I'm not telling you anything new, but for those that have never been to a Packer game, and believe it or not, there are a bunch of people that still have never been to a Packers game in their life around the state of Wisconsin. It is a giant party prior to that game occurring. Back in the day, everybody would tailgate in the parking lot and that'd be fun. And there still is a lot of that, but there's so many businesses and so forth that have gone up in that area. And some more might be people now living in that area as well, that it really is an event, even more so than maybe even a game. We're like, if you're in downtown Milwaukee, for instance, you have the Deer District for the Bucks, but it does not have the same vibe. It did when the NBA playoffs, right? 60,000 people or whatever. Okay, that's different. But for a regular season game, you got you got the bars down there in Old World Third and the bars in the Deer District, but it's not the same feel as Lambeau Field.
No, nowhere even close. I mean, I think the closest experience you have to this is maybe a Badgers football game when they were good, because you just have people walking around the streets, just kind of doing whatever they feel like doing. Yep. Everybody's got a beer in hand or some kind of a beverage in hand and just having a good time. You don't even have to go to the game. The bars were popping. You just watch the game at the bars and people were having a good time.
The Broad House, where we did shows at during the Brewer season, they do buses with different packages, right? So they have a huge tailgate party they do before home games that you can buy a ticket to. Now, you got to get your own tickets to the game, but you could drive up there on the bus, hang out, do the tailgate package, hang out there during the game or whatever. They have another one where you go up, and you just take the bus up, you get up, you get off. You don't have to go to their tailgate party if you have Packer tickets, and you can go there, or you can go to other bars. Like, there's 3 different variations of different things that you can do, and there are plenty of people. They had a camera in Stadium View, which obviously has been there forever, and they've done a tremendous amount of work on that place over the years to keep it, modern and modified and all that stuff. But that bar was packed. The game was going on, and that bar was packed, I tell you, on a Monday night.
Yeah. Again, every single bar had people flowing out of the doors, food trucks outside serving stuff. It was awesome. It was really cool.
Did you go to the team store that's like the size of a Kohl's?
Did not go to the team store. That was way overcrowded. Did not want to go in there. And then just everything's so expensive at stuff like that. I was telling Tommy, I did find at a thrift store Appleton.
All team stores at all stadiums are expensive.
Yeah. It was. But I found it at a thrift store in Appleton, a 1997 Packers Super Bowl hat that I thought about buying.
Except for ugly purple.
Yeah, there was the New Orleans one. So it's so cool.
Ugly.
They're so awesome.
Oh,
You're crazy if you think those are ugly. They're awesome. I thought about buying it until I saw that the price tag was $46. I was like, even for me, a hat, that's too much.
Store?
Yeah, at a thrift store. Thrift stores are bougie now, Sparky.
Like, did Butler sign it or Gilbert Brown sign it?
Nope. It was just one of those hats. I just couldn't do it. I could not bring myself to do it.
Hell no.
Exactly.
There is no chance I'm spending $47 on a hat.
Mm-hmm.
No chance. It could be a brand new hat from 2025. I'm not spending $47 on
I wear hats every day. I wear a different hat every day. I got a huge collection of them. Like, it would have been fine for me, but like, even $46 is too much for me.
No, there's no chance. No, zero chance that that's happening. All right, so let's get into the topics today. I'm glad you had fun. Again, thanks to Tommy Worst for filling in, producing for you while you were off for the last couple of days. So a podcast that was up on Yahoo, from Yahoo Sports. Nate Tice, who's a great NFL analyst and does a really good job with it. And Matt Harmon is another guy that does a really good job. And he is really specialized in fantasy, wide receiver numbers, and stuff like that, but very detail-oriented, great football analyst in his own right. They're having a conversation yesterday talking about this Packers offense after seeing what happened in that Philadelphia game.
Tucker Kraft being out stinks. Receiver injuries cropping up left and right. O-line injuries now cropping up left and right. Just a very frustrating team that I really like the highs of this team. And it's just, there's stretches and drives and play calls that I'm just like, oh my God. It's so well designed, and so LaFleur's flow of the game, or feel for the flow of the game, it just feels a little off right now. Like, where he can get a little tight sometimes when he doesn't need to, or gets a little too aggressive at other times when he doesn't need to. And I know that's kind of a results-based analysis, but I do think that's just over time, where just some of these game flows and game scripts, they feel off. Jordan Love starts pressing a little bit. I still trust this team. I still think this is a playoff team all the way because of what they can do, but they got to figure some stuff out soon. So big win for the Eagles, even if that was a glorified rock fight. Like, I mean, oh my God, that was some ugly moments in that game. It was so ugly, man. I was so geeked up for this game because I was like, oh, 4 good units. Let's see. And I'm a guy that's like, oh yeah, defenders get paid too. Like, watch a Jomo just call out that inside zone play. Like, oh, that's awesome. But even in this game, I'm like, oh,
there was some bad offense. That's the thing. It wasn't just good defense. There was some bad offense. I actually just wrote, literally before the show, I just published a piece on the Packers offense and where it is right now. So I won't unload like all of my thoughts on that. And by the way, they're one of the teams I want to talk about.
Read that definitely
for tomorrow's episode on the film room for the fantasy film room. So we kind of save that discussion for there, because we have a lot to get to on this show. But it just, you felt the immediate loss of Tucker Kraft, and I'm a little concerned with where the offense is right now. I don't want to fully push the freak out, complete fire drill panic, but I think there are some things
the case on the button has been lifted up. Like the panic button, the case got lifted up. Just get ready to press.
Right. I mean, this is an offense that has been one of the most, since LaFleur took over, one of the most efficient units in the NFL. From 2019 to 2024, second in EPA per play, sixth, I believe, fourth in points per drive. And they're just they're not anywhere close to that standard right now. It's mostly these last 2 games where they've scored 20 points combined, which is not ideal. But regardless, I think there are some deep root causes that do take some time to untangle there.
Okay, so let's talk about that. That again was Nate Tice, Matt Harmon. I'm trying to get Matt Harmon on, so we'll see if we're able to pull that one off. The question is simple. There's two ways we could have gone with that question based on what they said. We could go on the way of do you still trust this team and this Packers offense? Because Nate Tice said, "Hey, I still trust this. It's going to work out at the end of the day." Or we could have went the concerned route, which is something that they both brought up as well. We decided to go with the concerned route, but if you want to volunteer the trust part of this, feel free to do that as well. How concerned are you with the Packers' offensive inconsistency right now in games? Nikolay Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250 on the socials at WI Sports Radio. Okay, so let me first start by saying this. Am I worried about the offensive line? Yes. Am I worried about them going away from play action since week 4? Yes. To answer the question, how concerned are you with the Packers' offensive inconsistencies going forward? Not as much as most of you are. Definitely not as much as those that want Matt LaFleur to lose play calling. Not as much as those of you that want Matt LaFleur fired. I'm not there. I'm not at that level. The reason I'm not at that level is they've scored too many points coming up to these last 2 games to where all of a sudden it's like a water faucet. It just shuts off. They forget how to play offense. They forget what they're doing. And all of a sudden they go from being an offense averaging 30 points a game and wins to now the last 2 weeks of, oh, whoops, we don't know how to play offense anymore. We're stuck. Okay, maybe they are stuck. They'll figure their way out of this one way or the other. There's too much talent on that offense to not figure this out. They're in a rut. They're in a valley. When would you rather have them be in this rut or in this valley? The Brewers offense was kicking it from the end of July through August. And guess when they hit their rut and when they hit their valley? The bats went stone cold in the postseason. Would you rather this offense be cold now, or would you rather the offense be cold in an NFC championship game or an NFC divisional round? Me personally, I want this offense cooking in the playoffs and being a machine at that point. If it means we got a flat tire here in November, fix it and let's keep moving. And I firmly think they're going to figure this out. They're going to fix it and we'll go. But again, like I said, I am concerned about the line. Yes, I'm concerned about Matt LaFleur possibly, losing part of his memory about play action working and not calling that since week 3. That I'm concerned about. But man, you don't win all these games if you're Matt LaFleur and all of a sudden forget how to coach football in the middle of the season and don't figure out how to get yourself out the other side of this. The one thing I'm positive about with Matt LaFleur is he's calling everybody. I bet you Mike McDaniel's got a call at this point. I bet you McVay has talked to him. I bet you Shanahan's talked to him. I bet you if he is stuck, he's calling all of his boys trying to figure out how to get himself out of this mess. There's no way this cat is going, I got it, I'll figure out, and not looking for help and not looking for extra voices to kind of trigger something in his brain. I just don't think that's how he operates. He seems like a guy that's not scared to ask for help if he needs help trying to figure something out. That's been something that has always bothered me, I guess, working. Not even just working, just in general. Like, there are people that refuse to ask for help. I'm lost. Well, I'm not going to stop and ask anybody. Okay, cool. Drive around for 3 more hours then. But you'll pat yourself on the back when you figure it out. Or you can just stop at the gas station, figure out how to get to your destination, and get there in 20 minutes. Or you can do it your way. Like, that drives me nuts because I got too much pride to go ask for help for directions or something like that.
Of course you do, yeah.
Right, that's just so stupid. It drives me nuts. Like, just get out of the car, go ask somebody how to get somewhere. Or if we're in a store, this happens with me and Kay. I was like, where is this? I don't know. I'll find it. To hell with that. I just go ask somebody. I find it. I go over there. Okay, it's over here. Let's go. I'm not waiting to walk around the store forever. Just give me the answer and let's move. I think Matt LaFleur is more like that of, I will figure this out. I may get help, but we're going to get this right and we're going to keep moving. I don't think he's the guy that doesn't ask for help and bangs his head against the wall every night, not going anywhere.
No, but also the past couple of weeks, we've seen defenses run pretty similar defenses to each other that they've both never really run before. And you saw that with the Browns as well when they beat them earlier in the season. And it was a defense that seems pretty easy to replicate for other teams moving forward here.
Yeah.
And Matt LaFleur has to get that figured out. You brought up before the amount of talent that's on this offense. My one concern right now is that there's not a lot of talent coming back into this offense soon. It's Jaden Reed, basically. That's it. And every talented piece that we've had is playing right now and isn't really playing that well, or is not playing at all. They're off the field now. You lose Elgton Jenkins in this game. You lose the Tucker Kraft last game. You really have a lot of concerns with the overall talent. At the end of this game, my biggest problem was that Bo Melton is the star receiver in the end of the fourth quarter, a guy who hasn't played receiver all season. That's a concern. That's not talent on the field. That's you going to any option you have because the offense isn't working.
Okay, so I'm like, Charlie's got phones ringing. We got to get some text messages as well. Nicolay Law, talking text line 414-677-1250. So if you want to talk from the injury standpoint, right, you have no Tucker Kraft. That's not coming back. He ain't going to play. Fine, it is what it is. Elgton Jenkins with a fracture. He's not going to be out at least 4 weeks. You would assume he might come back before the end of the year. But, again, he hasn't been playing well anyhow at center. So how much of a loss for truly is that? I don't know. Now Sean Ryan will get his chance at the center position. And to be honest with you, Sean Ryan might be a better run blocker than Elgton Jenkins anyhow if you truly are going to continue to focus on
I think a more
running
consistent one at least.
Right. So that might actually be okay, might be an upgrade. The one thing for me that I would implore, be like, dude, go back. Watch some 23 film. Go back, watch the second half of 23. Find some of those things that Jordan Love was cooking on. Find some of those things that was a staple of that offense in 23 when you were going. In 23, you were letting him sling the ball. You're no longer letting him sling the ball. As we talked about in the last couple of days, clearly there must be some type of trust issue here between the coach and the quarterback, between the quarterback and the line, between the running back and the line, and so forth. I get all of that. But at some point, you've got to get back to what worked. That jet sweep used to work. You got Matthew freaking Golden who can run. I know it's not Jaden Reed, but it's still Matthew Golden. Put the ball in his hands and let's see what happens. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine yesterday. He goes, can I ask you a question? I said, sure. He goes, why is it when Brett Favre was a quarterback, we ran these quick 3-5 yard slants, quick hitters, and let guys work? He goes, and LaFleur doesn't do any of that. Very rarely do you see a quick 3-5 yard slant and let him go. Now, again, this is not something you're going to run with Christian Watson, probably a ton, but Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden, guys that are these quick guys, he's running to Romeo Doubs a little bit, but Doubs isn't going to break a tackle and go. He might break it. He's like Josh Jacobs. He might break a tackle and get 5 to 8, 10 yards down the field and get tackled. But Golden and Reed break a tackle and they might go, right? That is the simplest way I can put it. Get the ball in the hands of the guys that can score on any given moment they touch the ball. Christian Watson, Reed when he comes back from injury, Matthew Golden. I don't know about Savion Williams because we really haven't seen him get open to see what that looks like. But that's what I would be focusing on right now. Let the playmakers work. Let them go. Trust them a little bit to see what they can do. That's what you were doing with Tucker Kraft. You were throwing the ball 3 yards and watching Tucker Kraft break 3 tackles and go 40 yards. You trusted him to do that. Now let's put the ball in some of these other guys' hands. I know Luke Musgrave isn't a guy that's going to break tackles necessarily. He hasn't shown that ability yet. But still, throw the ball to him. Let's see what happens. I think that's where the struggle is in my mind.
I don't know if it is just about throwing the ball to these guys and seeing what happens. To your point, Romeo Doubs isn't really known for his after the catch ability. What he does best is before the catch. You can say the same thing about Christian Watson too in this offense. Luke Musgrave, you saw in this last game against the Philadelphia Eagles, what he does best is before the throw. He got open down the sideline a couple of different times, and one of them resulted in a big pass interference that got the Packers into scoring position. Those are huge plays that those guys can make. Matthew Golden, Savion Williams, Jaden Reed. Matthew Golden and Jaden Reed, first of all, have to be on the field. Jaden Reed hasn't been on the field in a long time, and Matthew Golden's hurt.
Yep.
Exactly. So both those guys have to be on the field. And Savion Williams, when he has gotten the ball so far, hasn't shown that after the catch ability or after the getting the ball ability that we want to see from him. He's been getting those end around type of plays, and you don't see that happening with this offense. I think with some of these guys, Matthew Golden, Savion Williams, Jaden Reed, when they do come back and when they are healthy, have to start playing a more aggressive style of football because you're seeing them go out of bounds. You're seeing them play within the system. They have to be like Jordan Love and take over themselves.
Okay, so this is the other part of this too when we talk about this offense. And the question is, how concerned are you with the Packers' offensive inconsistent game flow to this point? Nicolay Law, talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. The other part about this is Matt LaFleur trying to find a rhythm himself for the game calling. And this is something else over the course of time I've learned over the last 20 years of doing what I do and, you know, doing shows with former players like Leroy Butler and Gary Ellerson and these guys. This is an art, right? I mean, I could give you Matt LaFleur's call sheet. You listening right now, I could give you the call sheet and go, okay, you get all week, and then on Sunday, you're going to call plays. Let's go. Could you do it? Sure, you could call plays. You could talk in his earpiece or tell whoever to talk in his earpiece what you're going to call. Sure. But you're not going to do it as well as a lot of guys in the NFL where this play sets up this play later, and you're building on plays and getting the defense leaning one way, and then bam, I'm hitting them back another way as I get them leaning one place. You can talk to high school football coaches that will tell you the same thing. These really good high school programs around the country that are scoring a bunch of points, it's because their play caller knows what they're doing, and it's an art form. Matt LaFleur has shown over the course of time that he can get into these rhythms like his quarterback where it's like, hot damn, this is unbelievable, right? It's really, really good. And then other times, he's looking at the Microsoft service going, what the hell am I doing next? And he gets super frustrated and he can't figure out how to get himself out of it. So you have the good, the bad. The key is getting into that good and then staying in that zone a little bit going forward.
I think with Matt LaFleur, the biggest thing is like you said, when he's in the flow, he's feeling good. It's the moment that they get knocked out of that flow that he all of a sudden just freaks out and tries to like restart everything, go back to the top of the game plan and say, okay, we have to reset, when it's really not about that. It's not about saying what happened and how can we reset in the game. It's that it did happen. How do we move forward here on out? And the three other coaches just alone in the NFC North have all proven this season that they know how to do that. Matt LaFleur has still struggled with that concept.
Correct. And that's something that has to be figured out as well. So thanks for checking us out with that topic. Coming up on the other side, we're going to get to Zach Lowe. Zach Lowe, a guy that used to be on ESPN talking about the NBA until he was like, oh, well, like everybody else eventually does at ESPN. Zach Lowe, when Mark Lazary was here, very pro Bucks guy. And before Mark Lazary left, I didn't know who that guy was that Zach Lowe was on board with, but he definitely was a pro Bucks mouthpiece guy for sure. I feel like that's changed since Mark Lazary left. So I'm guessing that maybe Lazary was his guy and that's why he was so pro Bucks. Having said that, Zach Lowe was having a conversation about the situation in Dallas involving the Mavericks, Nico Harrison getting fired, and what are the Mavericks going to do next to try and get that thing back on track again going forward. And of course, like everybody else, the Bucks get brought up as far as how to help fix Dallas. No, it does not involve Giannis. I'll tell you who it does involve coming up next. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Hey, in a world of tenders, Wendy's decided to make something more juicy, more crispy, and more dippable. New chicken tenders are here. Some may call them tendies, and yes, it's fun to say and even more fun to eat. Wendy's new chicken tendies come with an insane new sauce lineup. New Wendy's signature, new sweet chili, or new scorching hot, or choose one of the classics, honey barbecue, creamy ranch, or honey mustard. Whatever you choose, they're the perfect vessel to dip all your tendies in. Wendy's new chicken tenders are so juicy, crispy, and dippable, you'll remember them forever. Gotta have tendies? It's gotta be Wendy's. Welcome back. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy. Steve Sparky Fifer with you. Charlie Usen doing his thing, other side of the glass. Still to come, Ben Badler, Baseball America. They have their top prospect list for the Brewers out today. They're doing different teams every day, and the Brewers are today. So we reached out to Ben, we've had on a bunch, and get his thoughts on the Brewers farm system coming up at 3 o'clock as the GM meetings are going on here for the next couple of days. Today's day one of the GM meetings. Harris Tour, owner of the Milwaukee Admirals, part owner of the Milwaukee Brewers, major booster for Milwaukee Panthers basketball. He'll join us coming up at 4:40 today. So we'll talk Admirals, maybe we'll talk some Brewers, all that fun stuff with Harris Tour coming up again at about 4:40. Time now to shift gears like we like to do on this show. We like to try and talk Brewers, Bucks, Packers for most days. Obviously a little bit different day after a Packer game. We're pretty centrally focused on the Brewers, but even on Monday, we had Joey Ortiz on, the Brewers shortstop, commemorating, or actually Tuesday, commemorating Veterans Day as he was on the Stars and Stripes honor flight. If you missed that, just go back and look for Wisconsin Sports Daily, wherever you download your favorite podcast at, and you will be able to go back and listen to that Joey Ortiz interview, or Best Brewers Coverage is another podcast page that you could probably also search and find too. So here is Zach Lowe, formerly of ESPN, part of the Zach Lowe Show podcast that he does. And he brings up this idea of trying to fix the Dallas Mavericks as their GM, Nico Harrison, was fired. And of course, he ropes in the Milwaukee Bucks to this conversation. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh my God, here we go again with Giannis. Nope. Giannis, not a part of how Zach Lowe wants to fix the Dallas Mavericks. I'm going to let him set it up. Then I'm going to ask you whether or not you would do the trade if you were the Bucks. Now, this is not Zach Lowe saying this is a possibility like the teams are talking. This is not Zach Lowe saying that he heard from a source. This is a deal Dallas wants to get done or Milwaukee wants to get done. This is Zach Lowe suggesting a hypothetical deal that in his mind would work. And then we'll see what you think, what I think, what Charlie thinks.
The Bucks always seem to pull a rabbit out of a hat. And you can make a deal of Kuzma plus Miles Turner plus a first-round pick for Anthony Davis. I'm just saying, like, the team's playing pretty well. And again, whatever team trades for Anthony Davis, like, you got to eat that extension, probably. And that's a big deal. And you're trading, Miles Turner's a good player on a much smaller salary. I have no clue. It's not like I've talked to the Bucks about this. It just happened today. That's, just Giannis and AD. Okay. I mean, I could get with that.
Okay. So where do we want to start talking about this one exactly? Because Anthony Davis has a deal right now, as I'm looking at this, cap hit of $54.1 million this year at age 32. 26-27 at age 33, $58.4 million, Charlie. 27-28 at age 34, a player option, which he'll pick up, $62.7 million cap hit. And then free agency in 28-29. I believe that is the updated contract for Anthony Davis, according to Spotrac. What say you, Charlie Usen? What say you listening? Nicolay Law Talk and text line 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. Miles Turner, Kyle Kuzma, and a 1 for Anthony Davis as we stream live on X and on YouTube as well at WI Sports Radio. You can comment there as well. All right, what do you got?
Zach Lowe just hanging out on NBA 2K, having fun, looking at his favorite players, and said, "Hey, this dude just be cool if these guys played together or something." That's what I got out of this trade, and that's what he kind of said at the end. He's like, I was just like, this is just an idea from me. Like, come on, dude, are you serious right now? Like this, first of all, just off like the meshing of those two players, Giannis and Anthony Davis. No, that doesn't really work out in my mind. Anthony Davis does not want to play the 5. He's been very vocal about that lately, and playing for the Mavericks, he hasn't wanted to be in that position. And then you're moving on from a player that you just got that's been playing well, and another player you got at the last trade deadline that's also playing well.
Yep.
It just doesn't make sense.
Miles Turner's contract, for those of you that are interested in knowing what that looks like, his contract, he's 29, so he's a little bit younger, $25.3 million this year. 26-27 at age 30, $26.5 million. 27-28 at age 31, $27.8 million. 28-29 at age 32, player option at $29 million. By that time, I would assume he will opt out. So there's no way he's playing at $29 million in the year 28, 29. There's no chance because the NBA salary cap will be through the roof by that point, or the luxury tax penalty. Player, I mean, you could argue he might be underpaid now after I just read you what Anthony Davis's numbers are. But $29 million in 28-29 with a player option. And then if he were to pick that up, which means everything went horribly wrong for the Bucks and him if he's still here with that number, 29-30 becomes a free agent at age 33. Kyle Kuzma, been balling. He's doing well, right? Again, can he do this consistently? I don't know. History says not. History says he can't put this together for an entire season. So we'll see. But right now, looks good. Playing well. Defensively, we talk about the offense, not 26, whatever. That's cool. But defensively, the intensity level, the energy, that, I like that. That's good, right? You can knock down threes, get to the rim, create for others. That's all great too. Kuzma has always had a ton of talent that never, ever was able to live up to it for an entire season. The one thing they always point to is, Sparky, look at him in the bubble. Who cares about the stupid bubble? Who cares? The year of COVID and the Lakers won it. Who cares? That, to me, don't care, doesn't count, does not matter. I don't care about the bubble year. It was horrible for Bucks. It was horrible. The whole situation was horrible. As far as on the basketball floor, off the basketball floor, it was miserable. I was doing the show, right? We were on the air.
Yeah.
And that was breaking. The Bucks weren't going to play. And on TV, it's just an empty court. And it was all happening in real time as the Bucks decided to not play. And then LeBron was livid that they didn't consult with him first. And oh my goodness.
Shut up, LeBron.
Oh yeah. LeBron was hot that the Bucks chose to do that without talking to him first. Please.
It's only because he wasn't involved in it too, though.
That was horrendous. And I do not want to talk about that. All right. Bucks AD trade. Zach Lowe suggests Anthony Davis to the Bucks for Miles Turner, Kuzma, who many of you didn't want anyhow coming into this year, and a first-round pick. Do you do it? Nicolay Law Talker text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Corey, south side of Milwaukee, you're up first here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. What's up, Corey?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking the call.
Sure.
I know it's just hypothetical and everything like that, but absolutely not. I mean, I would love coming into this year to get rid of that $20 million that Kyle Kuzma is taking up in the cap space and everything like that. But it's starting to work because Kuzma really isn't on the floor with Giannis as much as last year and everything like that. And it's working out for him. He plays a 4, and I think him and Giannis on the same on the court at the same time just doesn't work. But it's been getting better this year. Anthony Davis, man, I mean, the best ability is availability. And that's why the Lakers got rid of him, man. You know what I mean? So, I mean, they try to get out of that contract. We can't afford to have Giannis and AD on the same team. And it's just kind of stupid. It's kind of comical, but whatever. Absolutely.
It would be a move, Corey, which is, because right now I think the talking point is, and I'm one of the people with this talking point, I agree with it. You don't have a true number 2 scorer. And in the postseason, I think that's going to be the detriment and the downfall possibly of this team. Now, Anthony Davis would give you that. But again, as Barkley calls him, what does he call him? Not tracksuit guy, street clothes guy, whatever he calls him. That is an element that you're concerned about. He's not younger than Miles Turner. He's older. So if you make this deal, it's about trying to win a second ring for Giannis in the next couple of years before Giannis has the ability to get out of his deal and leave. That's why you're doing it.
The one thing about that, like hypothetical trade or whatever, the one thing I really don't like about it is giving up another first round pick when we only got one available.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we can't give up draft capital for the next 5 years. I mean, it's not working right now.
Yep.
But absolutely not for that trade.
All
Heck
right.
no.
Sounds good. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Let's go to our Dugout YouTube chat over there. Charlie Usen, what do we got?
Our guy Kenny Mack says you got to give Anthony Davis and Max Christie for that deal. I don't even think that's like enough. I mean, Max Christie's,
I don't think they'll hesitate to give you Max Christie.
Right. That's basically a second round pick at this point for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Sure,
I mean,
yes. The Bucks would take Max Christie, and I'm sure Dallas would give you Max Christie.
Sure, why not?
I don't think that's going to be, oh no, not Max Christie. We're not going to get rid of him. So I think that would totally be something that Dallas would be down for. But I mean, my God, like my follow-up to Zach Lowe would be, how does that help Dallas? Like, how does that make things better? From the idea of, okay, so you get a little bit younger to go with Cooper Flagg, with Miles Turner. Kuzma, I mean, he doesn't look old. He doesn't play old, but he'd been in the league for a minute now, right? So you get Kuzma, okay, and you still have Kyrie. So now you have Kyrie, Cooper Flagg, and Miles Turner. That's your big three. Is that winning a title out of the West?
I mean, maybe. Maybe if teams are injured like we consistently see every single year in the NBA, that's at least a playoff team, I think. I mean, that's not really helping you all that much, and I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that from the Mavs standpoint, I guess that makes you a little bit deeper. That gives you somebody on your team that's a little more healthy, can stay on the court like Miles Turner than Anthony Davis. I don't know, just for both teams in this situation, again, it feels like an NBA 2K trade. It doesn't feel real.
Nikolai Talk text line from the 262. No, how stupid. Davis can't stay on the court. The 414 trade away the only defensive dog on the team in Kuzma. And Kuzma, like I said, defensively, Kuzma has been really, really good. Corey in his big truck in Phoenix, Arizona. You're next here on Wisconsin Sports Daily. What's up?
Sparky, I just got a question for you before I tell you my thought. You didn't want to talk about this, but did you?
No.
Be honest with me. See, your expression, I felt your way out here. Man, this is ridiculous. We just got younger. Why would we do this?
To keep Giannis happy and show him that you're trying to win a championship now. That'd be the only reason. I promise you, if Giannis went to them and said, we can get Anthony Davis and we have to give up this, do it. If Giannis said yes, they'll do this deal. I promise you. If Giannis said, I'm in, let's go, they'll do the trade. If Giannis says no chance, then they don't do the deal.
Well, he need to go say no chance because you cannot replace Miles and Kuz. We 10 games in? Let it gel, man. This is a good squad. I don't care what nobody say. This is a good squad. Sure, we don't have a number two, but by committee, this can be done. My thoughts. Sparky, thank you for taking my call, man. I appreciate you, but I know you didn't want to talk about your expression.
No, but I'm not good. But I can't ignore it, Corey. You know that. I can't ignore it.
I understand that, but hearing you there.
Yeah, right. That's exactly right, Corey. You know me very well. Thank you for the call. Appreciate it. Anthony Davis. You ready for this?
Let's hear it.
Anthony Davis. The last time, let's see, 42 games with the Lakers in 24-25, 34 minutes played, averaged 25.7 points, almost 12 rebounds a game, 3.5 assists, 23-24, 76 games, which is pretty good considering they call them street clothes. 35.5 minutes a game. No way the Bucks play him that much. 35.5 minutes a game. He had 12.6 rebounds and almost 3 assists per game each year, over a block per game. Miles Turner is not scoring at that rate, nor is Miles Turner rebounding at that rate.
No, but that also just on paper sounds like a Giannis stat line. First of all, that sounds like what he puts up on the court.
So you have like two of them.
You'd have two of them on the court, but also at the same time, what does that mean for the spacing on the court?
Well, that's the other thing. Three-point shooting percentages, he sucks. And you know what the bad part about Anthony Davis is? He stinks at shooting the three, but he thinks he's Curry and keeps jacking them anyhow.
Did you see Andre Drummond's shooting threes this season? And like teams are just letting him do it. Like,
so
insane.
Correct. Absolutely stupid. Trell, north side of Milwaukee. You're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. What's up, Trell?
Hey, what's going on, Sparky?
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. So it would be a no for me. I just don't think the fit would be right on the court. And just on the simple fact that Anthony Davis is not really a three-point shooter. And we need a stretch five with Giannis.
Right.
For him to, for the court to be spaced the right way. So that'd be and plus he's not available enough. But Sparky, I got a question for you. And the caveat to the question is you gotta answer with one of the options. Okay, if I tell you that at the midseason point, one of these guys is going to be on the Bucks team, I want you to tell me either the one that you want out of the four options, and they may not all be pretty good options or whatever, or the one you think could happen. Because I think one of these guys is going to be on Milwaukee by the midpoint. Okay, got Anthony Davis, got Paul George, you got Trae Young, and you got Ja Morant.
Bring me a bucket. I guess. Damn. Man. Like, if we're just talking like most explosive, can do the most, Ja Morant's the guy. But his off the court stuff, his locker room attitude, all that scares the hell out of me. But I think I would lean Ja Morant of those guys. And he's younger.
Me too. I would lean him in that. And I think Carmelo's already been talking about it, and he said the reason why he would pick Milwaukee to go to.
Correct.
And the reason why he said, I agree with it. He said because there's a bona fide number one. There's no discrepancy with that. And he believes that Giannis would be able to corral Ja in the way.
We played Melo talking about that on this show, actually, last week, I believe it was. Terrell, thanks for the call. Appreciate it, right? We did that whole topic.
We did.
Yeah, we did. We played it on this show. All right, coming up next, the botch moment of the day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here.
It's time for the botched moment of the day. Bad call, dropped pass, horrible coaching. Did someone say the wrong thing? Let's get to it on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, time to get the botch moment of the day. We only have a couple of minutes left here to talk about this botch moment of the day. And it's always fun to talk about different things when it comes to around the world of sports. The other day when we did the botch moment of the day, it was, the drop pass because apparently hit the mouth guard of Bo Melton. I think we could just stay on that whole deal and say the botch moment of the day today will be that Josh Jacobs run where they call out the play before the play even happens. And the idea of nobody called a timeout for the Packers. Nobody, again, was yelling to get them in the correct alignment, because even if it would have worked, it wouldn't have counted because it would have been a penalty on them for covering up the offensive lineman again with Wicks. So that was a botched moment. And then on top of that, there wasn't a play apparently for him to audible to. That also is a fiasco. So they're all botched moments, and I'm still going off of that game from Monday night.
You're in a formation where you can't really do too much else out of that formation. It's really kind of unfortunate. It's inside zone or outside zone, and that I set up. I mean, Matt LaFleur and the Packers handcuffed themselves. It was bad.
It's horrible. Like that should never, ever be a thing. Like your quarterback should never be pinned in to doing something
what
that
makes
late.
it worse. What makes it worse is it's happened the past 4 weeks where they're in these situations where they just get screwed up like that and they just get stuck running inside zone in tight situations.
Awful, 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 awful. Not awful. The Potawatomi Sportsbook, my fine folks. Potawatomi's giving away over $300,000 in prizes. Love me some Pato. It's autumn action. Yep, you heard that right. Over $300,000 in prizes, courtesy of our friends over at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Autumn action runs through the 20th. You can earn entries playing with the rewards card. Prize drawings happen on Thursdays between 5 and 8. If you win, you get to pick your prize from the prize board. All leftover prizes go into a rollover jackpot drawing. For more info, go online at Potawatomi.com. Up next, Ben Badler of Baseball America.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Fifer, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Download the Wendy's app today.
Here we go. Another exciting hour of Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Thanks to everybody for carrying us along the network. Green Bay, Appleton, WNFL 99.7 FM. In Wausau, 93.9 The Game. In Duluth and Superior, 710 The Game. And in Milwaukee, 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Tell your friends, tell your family members as well. On the socials, you can follow us at WI Sports Radio, live streaming on X and on YouTube as well. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, all those cool places. Joining us now is a guy that I love having on. He has been Battler of Baseball America. Follow him on X at that very same name. Ben, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Ben joins us on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. Okay, so I saw on social media today that today is the day Baseball America is putting out its top prospects list for the Milwaukee Brewers. And Jesus Made, he's pretty good, Ben?
Yeah, I think that's an understatement. He's pretty special. It's hard to check any more boxes that you could ask for from an 18-year-old hitter. I mean, the way he performed in low A and high A, got even better when he got promoted, finished the season in double A as an 18-year-old, which, most 18-year-olds would have just graduated high school that year. And he's playing double A baseball, but switch hitter, a lot of bat speed from both sides of the plate, a really good ability to manipulate the barrel, get to pitches throughout the strike zone, fastballs, off-speed pitches, more strength projection in there still. I mean, he's got a lot of bat speed. He's still 18 years old, like 6'1", 6'2", still pretty lean and really, really good athlete. He can run, he can throw. To be determined if he's going to stay at shortstop long-term or not. But, man, offensively, he's really, really special.
In your projected 29 lineup in Baseball America, you got Made at third base. Offensively, what type of power do you think he provides at the next level?
I think it's hard to say precisely because he's still 18, but he has the kind of bat speed and strength projection and present power now where you could see him growing into 25 plus home run power. Maybe 30 plus. The way his swing works right now, it's a little bit more conducive to hitting a lot of hard line drives rather than bigger loft type power.
Right.
But I think it's more about like subtle adjustments he can make. Like it's a good approach for an 18-year-old kid. And the barrel accuracy and the consistency with which he barrels baseballs is so impressive for an 18-year-old. I think just as he, matures more as a hitter, gets into his physical prime, which, I mean, it's still like 5, 6, 7 years away probably, you're going to see even bigger power, bigger home run numbers than what you've been seeing so far and grow into that 25 plus, maybe 30 plus in some seasons home run hitter.
So the Brewers, I would argue their draft philosophy has changed under Matt Arnold, different than what it was under David Stearns. David Stearns took a lot of guys that would be, up the middle guys, and we've seen this GM, Matt Arnold, go for more of the taller, bigger guys with more power and maybe more swing and miss, but more power in general. They go out and they get a guy in Andrew Fisher who can play third. He can play first. In your 29 projection, you've got him at first base. This Brewers team currently has a hole at third base, as we all are well aware. Durbin played well this year. No issues there, but he's not a prototypical third baseman. How good is Fisher? Could he potentially end up on this roster this year at some point?
This year would surprise me. I know we've seen college guys get to the big leagues a year after they get drafted. Obviously, Nick Kurtz being the latest and greatest example of that. I don't think Fisher's in that tier of player. I think it's more likely 2027. He got drafted as a first baseman out of Tennessee, but he does have a background at third base. He played third base earlier in his college career, and he played third base after signing. And, I'm not saying he's going to win a gold glove at third base anytime, but he looked playable over there. I mean, he has the arm strength to play there. He has the hands. The lateral mobility was a lot better than I was expecting, given, just what we had on him as a college first baseman. Coming in on balls, he looked like a little out of place there. But how often are you making that play as a first baseman or having to charge and throw a ball? So it might just take a little bit more reps and experience there. But I think he could play third base. Now, just with the Brewers infield, they got Cooper Pratt coming. He might be their shortstop of the future if it's not Jesus Made. So maybe Jesus Made ends up being their third base of the future. Luis Pena is a pretty good one too. So they got some different options. So but I think Andrew Fisher defensively has the potential to stick at third base, but also, the power and bat could potentially profile well at first base too.
And see, that's what I'm looking at, because if you look at this last postseason and going into the postseason, Ben Battler of Baseball America, this team was like, everybody was saying, well, they don't have the power, right? They don't have enough power to win in the postseason. And they beat the Trader and the Cubs, which was fun. I enjoyed that. But then the bats go cold against the Dodgers. And you look at the two teams in the World Series, they're two of the teams that hit more home runs, right? The Blue Jays and the Dodgers. To me, if you're looking at this thing going forward, it's how do you get more power into this lineup and still kind of play a similar style of baseball?
Yeah, I think if you're looking for power hitters throughout the system, you touched on Andrew Fisher, Marco Dinges, who's a catcher, at least catcher for now. He didn't really catch a lot in college, so it's a little bit further behind on the defensive side. He has the arm strength to catch. Some of the other parts of his defensive game still need some more refinement, but he's got crazy power. Had a great year between low A, high A, but he would be a guy. Andrew Fisher, obviously, we talked about, has big power. Luke Adams has, a third baseman / trending more now toward first baseman, but right-handed hitter with very unorthodox, unconventional swing, but draws a lot of walks. It doesn't swing and miss as much as you would expect for a guy who swings the way that he does, and he has pretty impressive power too. So they have some guys in the system who are coming, who do have more power than maybe what you've seen from, a guy like, as good as he is, like a Sal Frelick or a guy like a Caleb Durbin. Good players, but not the power bats that, you were talking about.
I want to go back to Luis Pena. You brought him up in passing there. As far as, him and Made were coming together at one point, and then towards the end of the season, Made skipped ahead of him because Made was tearing it up more than Pena was at that point. Who does Pena profile as? Is there a comp for Brewers fans that haven't seen him play yet?
Yeah, it's a good question because I don't know that I have a comp. He does a lot. There's a lot of extremes with Luis Pena. He has probably just better pure bat to ball skills than Jesus Made, as good as Jesus Made is. But the difference is that Jesus Made is just more of a complete hitter and a much more disciplined approach than Luis Pena. Luis Pena will swing at stuff that's outside the strike zone too much. Now he'll still make contact because his hand-eye coordination is so good. But I think that's where you saw him, and maybe it's just, an 18-year-old kid getting worn down at the end of his first true full season. But I think that's part of where you saw the numbers decline when he got promoted to high at the end of the year, whereas Made was able to still thrive after that promotion. And then I think they're both really athletic, but Luis Pena is an even better runner than Made is. He's a plus runner. But Made, again, still to be determined if he's a shortstop or not long term. Whereas Pena, he's even further behind defensively. The hope is that he can improve his defense to play somewhere in the dirt, whether it's second base, third base. If not, he runs so well, maybe not on the Brewers just because how many good defensive outfielders they have right now and who can play center field, but he runs well enough where center field could be an option for him. And he also did start hitting the ball a lot harder this year too. So it's not your, little, wiry slap hitting, guy who can run. This is a, 5'11" strong, like thicker bodied guy who's starting to come into some damage when he gets into the ball too.
Ben Badler, Baseball America. Follow him on X as well at Ben Badler. Baseball America, follow them at Baseball America. We know about Mizorowski. We know about Priester. We know about Logan Henderson. We've seen him. We know all three of those guys should be really good going forward. Bishop Letson is a name that is prominent in this Brewers farm system that probably some or most Brewer fans don't know much about. Tell us about him.
Yeah, he's got really, really high upside. He just has not been able to stay healthy consistently. He dropped out of high school in 2023, elbow injury the year before. This year it was shoulder. But he hasn't had any surgeries or anything like that. But he's going to have to prove his durability, and I hope he does. When he's on the mound, it's really good stuff, and there's a lot more physical upside for more. 6'4", lanky. He's already topping out at like 97, 98. He'll mix in a four-seamer and a really lively two-seamer. Good slider. I think there's still more room for him to gain weight, throw even harder, and add more power behind both the fastball and the slider that he throws. Changeup still needs to come around, but the extension that he gets on his stuff helps his stuff really play up. It's like Jacob Mizorowski type extension, except he's 6'4" instead of 6'7". Yeah, that kind of super long arms, get the ball out really out front. So that just helps the stuff jump on hitters even faster than they're expecting. And he threw strikes. He got to Double-A this year as a 20-year-old. So chance to be maybe a number 2, number 3 starter. But again, the durability is a big part of being a starter. So he's still going to have to prove that.
Tyson Harden, what about him?
A great draft pick by the Brewers. Because if you look at, his numbers at Mississippi State, you're probably wondering why did the Brewers even draft this guy? He was a reliever in college, 12th round pick, wasn't very good. And this year, one of the biggest breakout prospects in the minor leagues. Brewers did a great job drafting and helping develop him. I think some of it was just differing pitch usage, dropping the fastball usage, going more to the slider and the cutter, and those are all really good pitches. And he just threw a lot more strikes this year for whatever reason. He walked a lot of guys in college. This year it was 4.3% walk rate. So threw a lot of strikes. He's got good stuff. Did fade down the season. So okay, maybe to be expected as a guy who was a reliever in college. Something we're gonna have to see him prove again. But I think in most farm systems, this guy would be a clear-cut top 10 prospect. You can certainly make an argument for him to be there, but it's a really strong top 10 for the Brewers. I think, him and Letson right after, obviously, Logan Henderson, who's there right now. Two really good arms to have right behind him.
2 questions left for you. First one, give me a guy that I haven't brought up that we should be talking about and this fan base should probably know about somewhere in this Brewers farm system that is, the talent to be really, really good at some point.
I think Josh Adamchevsky is a guy who's really raised his profile over the past year. A late round high school pick, pretty under the radar, but just a really good hitter. And he was showing that this year in Low A in Carolina. He was showing it this fall over the past month in the Arizona Fall League.
They moved him to the outfield too.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't think that's going to be a permanent move for him. I think they're trying to get him some exposure out there. He played a lot of second base. I think the hope is he can get better at second base to be good enough there. But I think the Brewers have a pretty high bar there for defense in the infield. So I don't know if he's going to be able to stick in the infield. But even if he goes to left field, it's just a really sweet left-handed swing. He seems to always be on time. He's always on the barrel. There's power in there too. He can hit the ball out to all fields, but just a really textbook type swing. I mean, the Brewers have had some guys with some unconventional swings who've made it work for them over the years, but this guy has that classic left-handed hitter look. Just a lot to like with him, especially offensively.
Ben, last question for you. Obviously, with Baseball America, you cover all the teams, right? So I laugh when I see guys that do what we do, sports talk radio in Pittsburgh, let's say, and they're talking about the idea of why can't we be like Milwaukee? They're a small market, we're a small market. Look at how they just consistently do this year in and year out, and it doesn't matter. And the Pirates and others that aren't good, they're at the top of the draft every year. They have those same opportunities or international signings and so forth. What makes this organization and this farm system so good that separates them from, other markets like them?
They're very thorough, I think, in what they do and the processes that they have in scouting and development, both domestically and internationally, right? Like the Pirates, they have a young outfielder, Edward Florentino, who's looking really good in low A. But otherwise, like you compare the international players in the Brewer system to the Pirates, I don't think it's really close, frankly. And I think the Brewers are one of the best teams in baseball when it comes to scouting international players. Like you get a once in a decade player that you sign in Jackson Churio, and then wait 3 years later, you sign a guy, Jesus Mate, who might be just as good, if not even better, potentially. So, but you see it, you see it in the draft too, the talent of, these guys we just talked about. And a lot of these guys were, some of them were early picks and a lot of them were later round picks, like a Tyson Hardren or a Josh Adamczewski or a Bishop Letson was, a slightly, like a pretty modest, like mid six figure high school signing in the 11th round, I believe it was. So they just do a really good job on all fronts, being very thorough and very thorough in their process and the players that they're scouting and signing both domestically and internationally.
Ben Badler, Baseball America. Follow him on X at Ben Badler. Ben, what can people find if they go buy a subscription at Baseball America?
Yeah, we're putting out all our top tens right now for every team in baseball. So updating our top tens. We've got the top 100 coming at the beginning of the year too. So always appreciate all our subscribers.
Absolutely. Appreciate you coming on, man. I appreciate it. And I'm sure we'll talk once we get closer to the season.
Yeah, no doubt.
Take care. There he is, Ben Badler, Baseball America, again on X at Ben Badler. If you're new to this show and you're not familiar with Wisconsin Sports Daily, Charlie Usen will tell you I love talking Brewers. And I really love talking Brewer minor leagues.
Oh yeah, that's I think you and Tommy.
Yes,
you and Tommy are the most locked in on that part of the game more than anybody else.
Pretty sure Tommy and I could do a Brewers minor league show every night.
Oh, probably,
and we would have the time of our lives doing it.
At least 4 hours long. Every night. Yeah.
Tommy Wirtz and I love talking Brewer minor leagues. All right, take a quick time. I'll come back on the other side. Back to the Packers we go before we get to Charlie Sounds of the Day coming up at 3:40. A lot of talk about this whole Matt LaFleur stuff, and we'll hear from Matt LaFleur. He talked earlier today. He described or was asked about what the heck were you doing on that Surface Pro during the game that everybody has pictures of and video of you being on that Surface Pro. He answers that question. So we'll hear from him coming up at 4 o'clock during the Green and Gold Update, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. But I want to have this conversation, and Charlie's the one that came up with this topic, and I think it's a very interesting one at that, because I know there are a lot of people that love Dan Campbell. I mean, that is their guy. Why can't he coach the Packers? That's the type of guy that I want. Question I have is, what kind of coach do the Packers need moving forward? And do you think Matt LaFleur can still be that guy that you want to be the leader of men, to be the leader of the Green Bay Packers, if you're one of those people that's frustrated by what you're seeing with the Green Bay Packers? Nicolay Law, talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250, on the socials at WI Sports Radio, streaming live on X and on YouTube. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. And let me tell you all about it. When the Bucks win, you win at Wendy's. After every Bucks win, stop by any participating Wisconsin Wendy's for a free small vanilla or chocolate frosty classic. No purchase necessary. This offer is only good for 24 hours after a win, so act fast. Get that free small frosty classic at Wendy's. That really kind of was me, head in hands, crying Sunday night, knowing I have no Charlie Monday and Tuesday. It's down and out. And
You were fine.
is.
Tommy does his job well.
Tommy was awesome. I'm just saying,
exactly.
it hit me Sunday night after the post game early. Yeah, Sunday night because we had Monday Night Football.
You're like Romeo Dobbs thinking Tucker Kraft is dead or something.
That's
how you're acting.
You're right. Yeah. No. So I'm glad to have Charlie using back again. Tommy Wirtz was awesome the last 2 days. Appreciated that. Thanks to Ben Battler, Baseball America, for coming on there in the last segment. Still to come, owner of the Admirals, co-owner of the Brewers, major booster for men's basketball for the Milwaukee Panthers. Harris Tour will join us coming up in the last segment of the show. Plus, we'll have from Matt LaFleur coming up at 4 o'clock. To the Packers we go here as well. What kind of coach do you think the Packers need moving forward if you're one of those people that maybe don't believe Matt LaFleur is the right guy? Or do you think Matt LaFleur is already that guy or can be that guy with some modifications maybe to how he's doing things? Nicolay Law, talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. On the socials at WI Sports Radio, streaming live on X and on YouTube. Charlie Usen, what say you?
When looking at this Green Bay Packers team, I think the biggest key right now is what we were talking about a little bit before the show and what Justice Mosqueda put into his article that he released the other day, just starting with the offensive line, but he really dove into the rest of the offense in general about how the talent on this roster really just is going to go downhill from here on out with how much money you're paying to a Jordan Love, with how much money you're paying to a Micah Parsons, how much money you're paying to a Zach Tom. There's going to be a lot of pieces that you aren't going to be able to bring back or pieces that you aren't going to be able to bring in the first place to this offense. So the players that you have on the field right now, you have to be comfortable with them first. And right now, I don't know if Matt LaFleur truly feels comfortable with all the pieces he has on the field at this moment. Now, on the other side of things, I don't think you bring in any other coach that is going to be any more comfortable with the pieces on the field than Matt LaFleur is. He knows these players as best as anybody can. I think the next best option is like a Jeff Hafley because he's the next best person that knows this team as well as Matt LaFleur does, and he doesn't even know this team as well as Matt LaFleur does. So I think that is the biggest key for this squad, but it also has to be this coach needs to be aggressive at some point here and allow his players to be aggressive and have these moments where, yes, he's going to make mistakes, but that isn't going to change how he coaches moving forward. It's going to be a mistake and he's going to move on and find ways to adjust that move there that way, but it's not going to change his identity. Right now, Matt LaFleur feels like he's constantly changing his identity and we can't have that anymore, but I think he can change his mindset moving forward here.
I think that there is not an issue that I'm aware of. I've not read it. I've not heard it from anybody inside that locker room where people aren't buying into Matt LaFleur. I'm not aware of a fractured locker room. I'm not aware of any issues. I mean, Jordan Love came out after the last game and said, hey, man, I wouldn't be mad at the defense. And they're like, dude, y'all got to figure this out. You're losing us games. We're doing our job. Do yours. Well, I wouldn't blame Micah Parsons and the defense if they were getting mad about what happened the last 2 weeks either. I think Matt LaFleur is a fine leader of men. I think there are different ways to be leader of men. You can be loud and boisterous and a man's man like Dan Campbell, and you obviously can do it that way, right? Or you can do it the Andy Reid way, or you can do it the Mike Holmgren way, or the McCarthy way, or the LaFleur way, or the Sean McVay way, like Kyle Shanahan. All these guys have their own personalities. They know how to relate to the guys on their team. They know how to press the right buttons and do the right things because they've been doing it for a long time. And LaFleur has been here, 7 years, something like that? He's been here for a while. It's not his first rodeo when it comes to having struggles in a season or struggles within an offense and so forth. So from that standpoint, I don't think there's an issue. I think if you're going to have an issue with what you want differently, it may be from the play calling standpoint. But as we've talked about, and as people have talked about it, Dan Orlovsky has said it on ESPN. I believe it was Nate Tice who said it earlier when we played that audio from Yahoo Sports. That LaFleur has always been viewed as one of the best play callers in the NFL through last year. And that is why Tice said, I'm still confident they'll figure this thing out and this team and this offense will be fine and they'll be in the playoffs and everything will work itself out. Because there is a track record for LaFleur being a really good play caller. I don't believe all of a sudden you just forget how to do that. Now, if we take Mike McCarthy, we're on in Green Bay and WNFL, so hi, Coach, if you're listening. But if you take Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers didn't like motion offense, nothing like that, so it was a very stagnant type looking deal. But in McCarthy's defense, a lot of what made McCarthy's defense was good was having uber talented guys that could beat their guy. It was predicated on the idea of I'm better than you at least two of these positions between wide receiver, corner, tight end, linebacker, safety, whatever. And my guys are going to win. And when they do, my Hall of Fame quarterback's going to find the guy, hit the guy, and we're going to beat you. And if you want to play zone, again, uber talented, smart guys, they'll find the pockets of the zone, and my quarterback will pick you apart because he's Aaron Rodgers. That's how we won. Well, then, over the course of time, as the talent started going away and he wasn't having as many talented players necessarily in that offense, then all of a sudden the offense stagnated and wasn't all of a sudden any good. Then Mike McCarthy leaves and goes to the Dallas Cowboys, where he was blessed with what? Uber talented individual players at wide receiver, at quarterback as well. And what happened? He won a bunch of football games in the regular season, and then they would lose in the playoffs, and they moved on. So Mike McCarthy's system works, but you have to have the talent in order to make it work. Matt LaFleur's system, Kyle Shanahan's system, Sean McVay's system, Mike McDaniel's system, yes, you're always going to be better if you have uber talented people, for sure. But part of what they all believe in is scheming guys wide open or scheming guys open to a certain degree. And play calling is part of setting defenses up to take advantage of the way you want them to play you. And once they move off of their spot to do something different to try and stop something you're successful with, then boom, you in for the big play going the other way. That's how it's kind of built. Well, to this point so far, that was working just fine. Prior to that Carolina game, in wins and even the tie, they were averaging over 30 points a game. And now in the last 2 weeks, they got stonewalled by this 2-high safety shell look or whatever that they're playing against this Packers offense. And Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love have not been able to crack the code. As I said earlier, and I'll say again, they will crack the code. They will figure this out, and this offense will get going again until opposing defenses figure out the next way to try and stop Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur. So for me, what kind of coach do the Packers need moving forward? I think they got the guy. I don't think Matt LaFleur necessarily is the problem at the end of the day. I think Matt LaFleur will be just fine at the end of the day. I am fearful of moving on from Matt LaFleur and then bringing in somebody that might not be as creative as Matt LaFleur. And next thing you know, it goes completely sideways and we end up with Luke Fickell Jr. Like, that is my concern. And maybe because of how badly it went at Wisconsin, even though I supported the Fickell hire because I was sick of watching Paul Chris and his offense, even though I was supportive, that clearly backfired. And now I think I'm gun shy for moving on from another coach that has your team in the postseason every year in hopes of trying to figure out something better.
I think when you compare Matt LaFleur to those other guys that run a very similar system to him that have come up through that same kind of coaching tree, Kyle Shanahan is the first one I want to look at. What he has been able to do in San Francisco is either build a Super Bowl caliber team, or if they have 2 to 3 injuries on that team, it's okay. It's all next year. We'll get them next year. It'll be fine. Right. We'll figure it out. Mike McDaniels, if you bring him up into this conversation, he's kind of the same way, except for he's just a worse coach than I think Kyle Shanahan is, just based off of what he can do on the field with the players that are there given to him. Sean McVay, I think every single week makes a new game plan for his team. He's insane. That man is the craziest person I have ever watched an interview of anything. Yes, in a good way. Like, he knows football and he is living and breathing football. And that's part of the reason his teams are able to adapt no matter with the injuries. But the key between all three of those teams that the Packers don't have is that they are just loaded with talent throughout the roster. Mm-hmm. It's not 1 to 2 positions like we're talking about with McCarthy and then a Hall of Fame quarterback. It's honestly a subpar quarterback or a middle of the league quarterback surrounded by tons of other weapons. What happens with Kyle Shanahan and what happens with Mike McDaniels is when one of those weapons goes down, those offenses just go out the door, immediately, and they can't do anything. Matt LaFleur has to be more like Sean McVay and be more proactive and say, you know what, this is a week-by-week thing. We have to change our system in order to match the talent that's on the field and not just give up each week.
in regards to the Rams, I mean, with all due respect, that Cooper Kupp, he was damn good. Then they found Puka Nacua.
But then Cooper
really
Kupp
good.
got hurt, and they found a way to make Puka Nacua the number one, or Robert Woods was able to step up.
And they got Devontae Adams.
And then they got Devontae Adams.
Right.
Like, they get the talent, and then he adapts to when those guys get hurt.
But I'm going to ask you this. Like, who's that guy on this team? Who's their Puka Nacua?
They don't have
who's
that.
their
That's
Devontae, right?
They don't even have a Debo.
Who's that guy?
They had a George Kittle and Tucker Kraft,
Yes,
but now you don't have that anymore.
Correct.
They had a really good offensive line at the beginning of the season, and now you don't have that anymore. Those are the two things they had, and you just lost that.
Yeah, yep, no question about it. You definitely lost. What kind of coach do the Packers need moving forward? Do you think Matt LaFleur can be that guy if you're on the get rid of Matt LaFleur train, like so many apparently are? Nicolay Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. You can also find us on the socials at WI Sports Radio. Let's go back over there to the YouTube dugout chat. Kenny Mack has some stuff on Matt LaFleur.
He says Matt LaFleur should go coach the Raiders. That's a good fit for him.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I don't get all the discourse around LaFleur. Like, this team is like 3-6, 2-7. They were horrible last year and so forth. Like, all this dude does is get this team to the playoffs every year. Every year. The first year of Jordan Love as a starter, they were supposed to win like 4 or 5 games. They got to the playoffs. They won a game in Dallas where Dallas was killing everybody by a ton all year at home. And then they were within shouting distance of beating the Niners. They should have won that game against the Niners to give them a shot to go to the Super Bowl. And we all act like this dude can't coach himself out of a wet paper bag. Like, I swear to you, I don't understand the dislike, the distrust, whatever. Am I frustrated that they went away from the play action pass? Yes, I'm frustrated with the play action pass. Am I frustrated the offensive line stinks out loud? Yeah, I'm frustrated the offensive line stinks out loud. And Andy Herman was on with us during the Mason Crosby show from noon to 2 at 1 o'clock from the Pack a Day podcast, and we were talking about that. And he said, you start talking about guys who are going to lose their jobs or whatever, and he doesn't think anybody's going to lose their job, but the first guy that he pointed out was Luke Butkus, the offensive line coach. And he also made the point, which is fair, your offensive coordinator is Adam Stenavich. He was the offensive line coach before he was given the offensive coordinator position, right? He's not calling plays. So to Andy Herman's point is, dude, he should be helping coach the offensive line with Butkus at this point. And anybody else that has knowledge of coaching the offensive line. Because to this point, Luke Butkus and Stenavich, they've had decent offensive lines. They haven't had bad offensive lines the last couple of years. And now pretty much outside of Banks, it's pretty much a lot of the same dudes from last year. And it is a mess. A mess. Rasheed Walker's probably having the worst year he's had. So that's your left tackle. Jenkins was a disaster at center, and now he's hurt with a fracture. So that didn't work out well. Like, literally, as was pointed out by Andy Herman, everybody isn't playing up to the level they should be playing up to as far as what's expected when the season starts. And Zach Tom, part of that is that oblique injury he's been battling through. I'll give him the out.
He keeps going out there.
I understand.
At this point, I mean, he's making the conscious decision to come out of these games at some point,
correct,
man.
Absolutely right. Let's go to Johnny, north side of Milwaukee. You're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. What's up, Johnny?
It's mind-boggling to me. I think as Packer fans, I'm going to say us, because I'm a Packer fan, and I'm talking as the majority of who's ever. Let me say this. Let me change that up. Whoever believes that Matt LaFleur shouldn't be the coach of this team, or you got to be nuttier than squirrel poop. You got to be. You got to tell me who else out there. Who's out there? Who are you going to get this better? That's going to be the very first thing I'm going to ask.
Well, I think I brought this name up yesterday, and Peter Bukowski threw his hands in his face and didn't want to talk about it. But Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss is a guy that has designed offenses. People think he might end up with the Giants because that's where his quarterback is, Jackson Dart. But that is a guy that knows offense and who has NFL head coaching experience.
And I'll pass. I'll go with the guy that has NFL coaching experience and it has been winning doing so.
Agreed.
With the team that has been built from within that he was a part of. I think people are getting very impatient, and that may be a problem.
Others have brought up McCarthy again.
No, McCarthy. That was like McCarthy became so predictable, and it was just one of the things where he didn't do too much wrong like that. And you looked at it was just time for a change.
Right.
It didn't look like, I don't believe that that's the case here. You got this man has been working with the youngest NFL team for 3 years in a row. He keeps getting, like you said, keeps getting us to the playoffs. And he working with, I'm hesitant to, I'm a big time Packer fan, so I don't want this to be taken the wrong way. But he's working with what I'm starting to believe is an inept quarterback. I'm sorry, like Jordan Love, I believe he is what he is, and he should be great, and all the good things you want to say with Jordan Love, but what's on film, what we're seeing since Jordan Love has been the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, we've seen more bad Jordan Love than good Jordan Love, which makes me think the majority says he may not be that good.
Johnny,
He may not be that good.
Johnny, what does Jordan Love do bad that you don't like?
I have never, in my time as a Packer fan, I mean, the guy is worse than Brett Favre the worst time for that one thing that you can't have happen to happen. You can't have an interception right here, Jordan Love. He'll throw a pick. Jordan Love, you cannot take a sack. We are still, he'll take a sack. Jordan Love, hold on to the ball. We still a thing.
That's fair.
It has not failed.
Yep.
But, and let me, before you cut me out, these are all fixable things. That's why I said I'm still all in with Jordan Love. His decision making and the things that can go wrong when they go wrong. I don't know if I've ever seen it happen to a quarterback worse than Jordan Love. It'd be about to be halftime. We about to go in with a lead or go down only down 3, and he'll throw a pick 6. I've just never seen this before. So that's why these are fixable things.
But see, that goes back to what people say about LaFleur and not trusting Jordan Love, Johnny. Thanks for the call. That's it. That's all part of it. I can't argue with what he said. Jim in West Allis, you're next on the Nicolay Law Talking Text Line. What's up, Jim?
Yeah, you guys keep just talking about LaFleur and Love. What's the big picture? What Goody did in the beginning of the year? What did he do? He made a trade with Dallas.
Yeah.
Why did he make that trade?
To get a guy that could hit the quarterback because
what else?
Rashawn Gary couldn't.
They're getting the Super Bowl.
Yes.
That's what. They're getting the Super Bowl.
Agreed.
Is this team going to the Super Bowl?
Not as they look right now. They're not. No.
That's right. What's going to happen to the coach?
But
What's going to happen to the coach?
Well, if they make the playoffs, I don't think he's getting fired. If they miss the playoffs, I think he's getting fired. If they lose a game and say the wild card round, I think he gets fired. If they win a game in the playoffs, I don't think there's any chance he's getting fired. Thanks for the call, Jim. No, I don't. If they go win a wild card game or a divisional round game in the playoffs, Matt LaFleur's here next year. May not be extended, but he's here. They miss the playoffs, then maybe Ed Policy moves on from Matt LaFleur. Take a quick time out, come back. Other side is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, and they got some cool stuff going on over there, man. You know I love me some Potawatomi. Potawatomi is giving away over $300,000 in prizes. $300,000. It's autumn action. Yeah, you heard that right. Over $300,000 in prizes, courtesy of our friends at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Autumn action runs through November 20th, and you can earn entries playing with the rewards card. Prize drawings happen on Thursdays between 5 and 8. If you win, you get to pick your prize from the prize board. All leftover prizes go into a rollover jackpot drawing. For more info, go online at Potawatomi.com. Must be 21 years of age or older and a rewards member to play. Ricky Lake. Nobody remembers Ricky Lake. I mean, that's just not a thing. People don't remember Ricky Lake. I'd ask Charlie Hughes, but I'm guessing you don't remember the talk show Ricky Lake.
No,
you don't remember?
No.
Short brunettes. Do you remember Sally Jesse Raphael? You remember who that is?
No. That was just a
big red glasses talk show host.
Word soup, like alphabet soup that you just said to me. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, no clue.
You really?
No clue.
I would have to imagine your father knows who both of those
Probably. You guys are both
are.
800 years old, so yeah.
Yeah. Golly,
aren't you happy I'm back?
It's funny. It's funny because, like I said before, I used to be you working with guys that were older than me. They'd say something like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, you're really old. I don't know what you're talking about. And now here I am, and now I've got myself in the exact same boat. That means you've been somewhere a really long time, is all that means. And I'm happy I've been here a long time. Hey, let me tell you about my friends over there at Prize Picks. Best way to win cash on your favorite teams, Bucks, Packers, whatever the sports season. Which players are going off, which ones are overhyped. Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your takes into cash all season long on Prize Picks. All we're talking about is daily fantasy, right? Making more or less on stat projections of two or more players in your lineup. Plus, they offer stacks now, which means you pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. Now, you got to go along with another player, right? Besides just that one same player. But so if you want to pick more on, say, Giannis for blocks, rebounds, points, or on Jordan Love with touchdowns and passing yards or whatever, you can do that only on Prize Picks right now. Plus, you also have the chance to play a flex play where you can get paid even if one of your picks misses. If you want the biggest payouts, go for the power play. No matter your play, Prize Picks is a great way to put your takes to the test. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code Sparky to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code Sparky to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details. Let's go to Trav and Brown Deer. You're next on the Nicolay Law Talking text line here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. What's up, Trav?
How's it going, bud? This is crazy. I know Charlie's younger and stuff, but we just have conversations at work. It's like Geraldo Rivera.
Yeah.
People are like, who is he?
Yep.
Jenny Jones, right?
Yeah. Donahue. Remember Donahue?
Yeah, Phil Donahue.
Phil Donahue, man. That was the guy.
I know Maury.
Phil Donahue would run up and down talking to people in the listening audience to get their questions for the guest that he had on.
I know Jerry Springer.
Yes,
okay.
Jerry Springer.
Yeah, well, everybody knows. Yeah, but
that's not real, though. I mean, that's not the same thing.
WWE of talk shows. Yeah.
Yes, that's pretty much what it was, Trev. Yeah, it is sad. I mean, we all age, we all get old. Things that Charlie now knows when he has kids, like, what are you talking about? That was 2025, Dad. It's 2050. Like,
I can't think that far ahead, man.
Yeah, well, trust me, I couldn't think that I'd be sitting here doing this in 2025 either. So you and I are on that same boat at this point for sure. Coming up next, Green and Gold update. Matt LaFleur talked earlier today. He talked about that Microsoft Surface that he was on, trying to figure out what the hell play he was going to call next. So we'll play you some of Matt LaFleur's presser coming up. And Charlie Sounds of the Day, brought to you by Prize Picks, comes up at 4:20. And then Harris Turr, owner of the Admirals, co-owner of the Brewers, and major booster for men's basketball with the Milwaukee Panthers. He joins us in the last segment of the show. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Fifer, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Download the Wendy's app today.
It is time again. Thanks for tuning us in as we broadcast live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Charlie using other side of the grass, streaming live on X and on YouTube at WI Sports Radio. Before we get to our green and gold update, staying with the Packers theme, got a text message that came in there in the last segment, but we didn't have a very long last segment, from TJ in Wausau, listening on 93.9 The Game. Show me a team or a quarterback who doesn't have turnovers. They happen, part of the game. But those quarterbacks also get a chance to make plays. Love doesn't get that chance with Matt LaFleur. Too many Packer fans don't look past the Packers and realize there are worse quarterbacks than Love. Okay, TJ, I will tell you that is a fair point, a good point. You're missing a key part, though. Money. Understand, I'm not sure how long you've lived in this state. I've lived here my whole life. As soon as you give somebody a lot of money on any one of these pro sports teams, Brewers, Bucks, Packers, expectations go through the roof. Fairly, unfair, whatever. They go through the roof. So when you pay Jordan Love all that money, now expectations become Super Bowl, MVP, top 3, top 5 quarterback in the National Football League. As soon as Brian Gutekunst paid him that money, everything went up. He does not look like that in the last 2 weeks. Because he does not look like that in the last 2 weeks, you have people going after his head coach and people coming after him saying, he's not that good. We had one guy the other day called in and said top 15 quarterback. I think it was David Caledonia. Look at me, my memory. That top 15 quarterback, maybe. So I don't think, TJ and Wausau, that this is a deal where people don't know how good or how bad other quarterbacks are. I don't think anybody thinks Jordan Love's a bottom of the barrel quarterback. I don't think that's the case at all. I think people think that you see flashes of really good 20 straight completions, right? You see what you want to see. But then you have Johnny on the north side of Milwaukee who called in last hour and said, hey, man, this dude screws up every time it's a big moment. He does the, oh, no, I can't believe you did that in that moment type deal. And that's what frustrates Johnny in Milwaukee. So those are the things I think that frustrate people. I don't think anybody thinks he sucks. I haven't heard anybody say that. Like, he's just a horrible quarterback. Like, I don't think anybody thinks he's a horrible quarterback. I think there's a lot of people that don't think he's worth the money that he's making. And that's where all the flack comes from.
If the way you have to defend somebody in a situation like this is to say, well, there's people worse than them, that usually means there's some kind of issue and that you can't say, oh, well, he's better. If you have to say that other people are worse, that means you're not that excited about the actual thing in front of you that much either. That's just saying, oh, look, we're okay right now, guys, which is true. You're right. To your point, you say he's got a good point. But at the same time, that's an issue. If you have to look at Jordan Love and consistently say, well, okay, at least there's somebody worse, that's not what this Packers team has done for the past 30 years.
But nobody should ever have thought this was a Hall of Fame quarterback.
No shot. Not yet, at least.
No. But, I mean, if you thought he was a Hall of Fame quarterback because they paid him all that money, well, then you made a mistake.
They paid him because everybody else was getting paid. Correct. That's how it went.
I mean, Tua got paid. All these dudes
Lawrence got paid.
All these dudes are getting paid, right? So eventually, if you have a starting quarterback, they're going to get paid in this league. That's how this works. Jordan Love does not have to be a Hall of Fame quarterback for this team to win a Super Bowl. He just doesn't. Jordan Love has to be close to a Pro Bowl quarterback. If he's at around Pro Bowl level, so top 3 quarterback in the NFC, right? They can win a Super Bowl. No question. Now, can he get there consistently for a whole season? Don't know. This offensive line isn't doing him any favors. Last year, they had one of the worst receiving cores in football with all the drop passes they had. So that wasn't doing him any favors either. And yeah, it could be like, Sparky, you're making excuses. Yeah, maybe I am. But I'm just telling you what I see. Facts of the case. That's what it is. Does he make boneheaded decisions? Absolutely. Is that going to change? No. That's his DNA. That's who he is. He's always going to try and make something happen, good or bad. But the problem is there's not enough of the, wow, holy crap, he just came back and won those game moments yet. This is year 3 as a starter. There's not a lot of go win the game in the last 2 minutes of a game.
Well,
or go set up a field goal to win it. There's not enough of those to balance off the, oh my God, you just did that. That's what Brett Favre was. Brett Favre had a million, holy crap, are you kidding me moments. Why in the world did you throw that ball? Or why did you do that, right? But he had so many of the, woo, only Brett can make that throw. Woo, what a comeback there by Brett Favre. So it balanced each other out. And right now, Love doesn't have enough of those wow, great moments on his side of the ledger to balance off the bad stuff that's happening. And again, it's not Favre would have 4 quarters where he would throw like 3 picks and maybe a touchdown or 2. And you're like, man, was he bad, right? And you lost. Jordan Love really has not had a 4 quarters, oh my God, he looked awful for the entire game moments. Favre did. That one game against the Rams, Favre threw like 5 interceptions, and it was a playoff game in that game. You don't get that with Jordan Love. That hasn't been the case. He has a moment where you want to go, oh, come on, man. Yes, you have those moments. But it's not like it was necessarily with Brett. And the fact that you're following Aaron, who never had moments like that, I think makes it even worse, right? If Jordan Love is following Tua in Miami, he looks great because he doesn't do some of the dumb stuff Tua has done over the course of time, right? If Jordan Love is following Russell Wilson in Seattle, he looks great. But when you're following a guy that didn't make mistakes for the majority of his career in Aaron Rodgers, the fan base is going, oh my God, what is wrong with you? Well, nothing's wrong with him, but Aaron Rodgers was just that damn good for as long as he was at the end of the day. I guess we're taking calls on this now, so let's fire the open.
It's time for your green and gold update on Wisconsin Sports Daily, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network with Steve Sparky Fifer.
Our guy TJ, listening on 93.9 The Game in Wausau, apparently has created a topic. I don't know what the question is. We're just talking. So let's see where this goes. Nicolay Law Talk at text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250 on the socials at WI Sports Radio. Justin in Watertown, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. What's up, Justin?
Hey, Sparky. So you're talking about this comparison with Love and all this other stuff, not a Hall of Fame quarterback yet. And we have to remember back to the year that Rodgers won the Super Bowl. That whole regular season, he wasn't playing at Hall of Fame or even Pro Bowl level.
Correct.
He didn't kick it into gear, really, until they got to the playoffs. They were the last seed, barely getting into the playoffs, and then he gets on a hot streak, and then the rest is history. So we're trying to compare Love to this career that Rodgers and Favre had, when at this point in their careers, they were pretty much where he is right now.
Yeah, that is
still trying to make it work.
That's very true. But when we talk about Jordan Love, why do you think there's so much vitriol towards him then?
Oh, I agree with you. It's 100% because of the money. Because he got paid before the other two did.
Correct.
He just did.
Yes.
They were still on their rookie contract.
And he had a half a season where he was really good, and they had to pay him. And the reason they had to pay him was because of how long he had to wait behind Aaron Rodgers.
100%.
Yeah, no question. Justin, thanks for the call. Look at that. See? That's good. Should bring Justin into to balance the show from time to time. Justin, feel free to come, and we call you the guy that balances things. I don't know. Got to come up with a nickname for Justin. I don't know what it is, but that very well said. It is the money for sure. And I want them so badly to get cooking this week against the Giants. And while I was filling in on the Mason Crosby show today, and Andy Herman was on, and I asked Andy Herman about the game coming up, and Andy's like, well, what would make you happy, Sparky? A win. He's like, oh, come on. It's like, just win the damn game, man. He's like, nah, it's not true. Most Packer fans, if they don't win by at least 2 scores, are going to be mad. I said, okay, if we're talking about like what's going to make Packer fans happy, beating the Lions on Thanksgiving, nothing that happens between now and then is going to convince them this team is right. Because even if the Packers go smoke the Giants on Sunday, and Tommy Wirtz and I are here doing the Green Bay football postgame show powered by Lakeland University, we're taking calls and texts and all that. We're playing sound after the game. People are going to say the same thing to me. They're going to be like, Sparky, the Giants suck. I don't care that Jordan Love threw 4 touchdown passes. They're awful. Doesn't mean Matt LaFleur is a good play caller. Doesn't mean Jordan Love's a good quarterback. They played a bad team. To which, Charlie, let me tell you what I'm going to say on that same show.
What's that?
But you killed them for Cleveland. You killed them for Carolina. Both those teams aren't any good. Well, Carolina's better than Cleveland, but you killed him for both of those games. Now he beats a team he's supposed to beat, and you go, no credit. But you killed him for losing to a team that he's supposed to beat. Again, all of these teams, at the end of the day, play in the National Football League. All of them.
The Giants beat the Eagles earlier in the season already once.
Correct. The Giants aren't a winless football team either. Now, Jameis Winston is starting, it looks like, unless Jackson Dart clears concussion protocol, not Russell Wilson. So that's unfortunate because they would have killed Russell Wilson. But having said that, when you look at this game coming up this week, and then you look at the next one, and then it's the Lions. I'm telling you right now, I think it's the Vikings after this, right? Giants, Vikings. Giants, Vikings, Lions. They got to beat the Lions to get the Packer fan base that's off the bandwagon right now to get them back on. They got to beat the Lions on Thanksgiving, which then means they beat them twice this year, own the tiebreaker on the Lions, and sit in a pretty good position to win this division.
I don't think you can lose to the Giants or the Vikings either, though, with that stipulation as well. I think going into both those games,
agree.
I think that's something that you have to look at.
I expect both wins.
Did you expected to win against the Panthers?
Sure.
You expected a win against the Cowboys. You expected a win against the Cleveland Browns.
That's right. But I didn't expect to beat both the Lions and Washington at the beginning of the year.
No, but also, again, you talk about expectation from before the season. Now, the Washington isn't the same team that we thought they would
regardless, you're saying going in, not 10 weeks later. Going in, nobody looked at that schedule and said, oh, yeah, they're definitely going to win both of those games. I don't think that was the case. I think a lot of people thought Aaron Rodgers would torch the Packers when he had his opportunity to beat the Packers. That didn't happen either. So we can do this rigmarole of who did you think they would beat and who didn't you think they would beat and so forth. All I'm saying is I think they're going to figure this out. They're going to get these next 2 games, and then it's the Lions, and then it's put up or shut up time to see where this team truly is at this point. Let's go to John and Franklin. You're next on the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line. What's up, John?
Hey, Spark. Thanks for getting me on. You know, I've taken a little break here for a period of time because where I'm at with the Packers, it's not a good place.
It's a dark place,
and it is. It is, and I'm not going to apologize for it. With what was presented to me in the off season, the moves, the chips all in the middle of the table, for me to have an expectation that we would beat the likes of the Browns and the Panthers loss to me is inexcusable. I know it's over. It's in the past. I'm not losing sleep about it now. But you're right. We better trounce the Giants. Did anybody watch the end of the Bears-Giants game where the Giants laid down like they're tanking and gave that game to the Bears at the end? So, yeah, they better beat the Giants. And if they do, I'm not going to be, high on life because of it. I have an expectation with this team. And you kind of touched a little bit on what I was going to hit on with Jordan Love. It really was nobody's fault. The Packers had to pay him, especially with the second half he had, and the win in Dallas. They had to pay him. The investment, the whole possibly blowing things up with Rodgers at the end of the day to get him. They had to do what they had to do. It's nobody's fault. But the problem is, the kid looked a lot cooler under pressure earlier on in his career. And now this kid looks like he's getting the yips. At times he looks like he's panicking, and he wasn't looking like that even earlier on in games in his younger career.
That's because this is the worst offensive line he's ever had. They got pressure on him 40% of the snaps, John. Let's not act like he's standing behind a wall, John. This is the worst offensive line the man has played behind in his career.
Okay, I'm not, and I don't get me wrong.
That's the difference, John. That's the difference.
I'm not drilling Jordan Love. The kid was put into an impossible position following 2 Hall of Famers, and the fact that the Packers had to pay him. It's not his fault. We picked him. It's not his fault. I don't blame him. I am making an observation of what I see from him. And I feel the rest of this season, specifically the games in division, is a trial to see what the heck is going to go on with this team in the offseason. Because the offense is indescribably bad. I understand we lost our number 1 weapon, but he had all week to game plan around that.
So, John, let me ask you a question. If they win these next 2 games convincingly over the Giants and over the Vikings, and they throw up 24 to 30 points each game, does the offense still suck?
I didn't say that. You're putting words in my mouth.
I didn't ask that. I asked you a question. I didn't put words in your mouth.
Sparky.
I'm just asking you, John. John, I'm just asking you. If they throw up, say, 24 points in each of the next 2 games against the Giants and Vikings, would you still say the offense sucks because, it's the Giants and the Vikings? Who cares?
No, I'll feel better about things.
Okay.
Because what I've seen the last few weeks, short of what everybody is telling me, the Pittsburgh, and it's hard to wrap your mind about it, Pittsburgh having a terrible defense, but that's what is continually said.
They're not very good.
And that's the team, only team outside of, Dallas's defense where they looked really well.
That's not true. They were averaging over 30 points a game going into that Carolina game in games they won or in that Dallas tie, if you add that in. Only Cleveland had that offense under control until these last 2 weeks. Thanks for the call. Again, their first 4 wins, they averaged 27 points a game. Let's not act like this offense has sucked all year. That's not the case, y'all. They were one of the best offenses in football at that point. I got one here from Garrett in Tomahawk. Garrett, my guy, I don't know you. First time I believe I've read one of your texts. Thanks for having us on in Tomahawk as well. But if you're going to send me a bunch of text messages, just call, man. Just call. Because if you call, then you and I can just go back and forth on the radio. I'm not going to be a guy that's going to drop you after one thing. If you're new, I like going back and forth with y'all on the radio. That's what I like. I would rather go back and forth with callers than Charlie any day of the week. I'd rather have that, right? So I'm just saying, but I appreciate you texting. Let's read some of the text messages from Garrett and Tomahawk. 715 is where he's calling from. He looks great. That's talking about Jordan Love. That's the problem. You and our local media hyped up Love as an ascending star for 2 years. He's just not. He's average to above average quarterback that struggles to locate his deep ball and misses routine throws a few times a game, from Garrett in Tomahawk. Then he follows that up with, I don't know what I was saying, but he said, that's a terrible comparison. It would be not be giving credit to Love for being a good team, which would be equivalent to crushing him for losing to a bad team. Right. So, as I said earlier, they have to beat the Lions to win back some of these fans, like Garrett and Tomahawk, right? That's what it has to be. Because they beat the Lions earlier in the year, and it was like, oh, maybe the Lions aren't so good. Then the Lions look better, even though their offensive coordinator lost play calling duties because Dan Campbell took that over because he was sick of watching his offense. He took that over last week. And up until last week, everybody's like, oh, this Lions team's much better. Packers are going to have a problem. Well, Campbell didn't think so. So he yanked the play calling duties. So if they beat them on Thanksgiving, that's going to take care of that issue. Now, to the other point, as far as an ascending star, whatever the case may be, Garrett, you and I didn't know each other in 23. So I don't know what you were saying to your friends, your family members, whatever, while Jordan Love was on his run the second half of that year. Maybe you were watching that and going, this guy ain't that good, man. He's lucky. He ain't that good. They beat the Cowboys. Who cares? Maybe you were that dude. Maybe you were never buying into Love from word one on Jordan Love that year, right? That weren't buying it. They paid him. You're like, man, he ain't that good. Maybe you're that guy. You can call me a sucker. You can say, Sparky, you got suckered into this, whatever. Cool. I bought in. I had no problem necessarily paying Jordan Love that money. I wanted to see a little bit more, but because of the situation they were in, having him sit, they didn't have time. They didn't have time. They had to get the deal done if that was going to be their guy. You can go round the National Football League, Garrett, and ask all the different GMs and owners how hard it is to find, even to your point, let's say they called him an average to above average quarterback. If you went to every GM in the league and said, okay, would you take an above average quarterback for the next 8 to 10 years? I guarantee you almost everyone would say, hell yes. Ask the Bears fan, Charlie.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do you think the Bears would have taken an above average quarterback for the last decade?
We finally have an above average quarterback, and it's a lot of fun to watch football now.
Right. But for the last decade, I would have said, here you go, above average for 10 years. You say yes?
I take it, yeah.
Not a Hall of Famer.
No, not a Hall of Famer,
but
above
just
average.
above average.
That's what Gail Williams is right now. Yeah.
But see, again, this is the point. That because you just watched 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks, now above average ain't good enough. I get it. Like, I watched them too, man. I go all the way back to Dickie, but so I watched it all too. I understand. I get it. But you also have to understand that right now, he does not have to be a Hall of Fame quarterback for them to win. Unlike Rodgers, who didn't have great defense his entire time here, they have a really good defense right now. If he just plays near a Pro Bowl level, which is good, right?
Tyler Huntley was a Pro Bowler 2 years ago, so it's not that hard to get to that level.
That was a joke, but we'll move on. If he plays at that level, this team can go to a Super Bowl. If they get him back to that level, they can go to the Super Bowl. Defense is good enough. Now, the kicker, who knows where that's going to end up with, but that's where I'm at right now. All right, we'll take a quick timeout and come back. Guys, whoever's on hold, I'm sorry, but we are, hell with it. I'll take one more. Paul in Menominee Falls, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. What's up, Paul?
Not too much. You know, I'm not too worried, or I don't think that. I think he's physically he's got the talent, but right now what scares me is, and a lot of it's not his fault, is he's missing a lot of wide open people. He's not going through his progressions right. You know, I mean, I don't know if you noticed, Aikman pointed it out 3 or 4 times. You know, he had so and so open right there. You know, and he threw it to the wrong guy. You know, but that could be. He doesn't have the time because of the offensive line also.
Correct.
You know?
Yes.
So,
the offensive line is horrible.
I mean, to me, it's like we got to fix that first and then give Jordan Love a chance.
Right.
You know, if you got to call more, let him roll out, you know, and on a pass play, not sit in the pocket and get sacked.
Yep.
You know,
move the
let
pocket.
him roll out and give him some time. Move the pocket. Exactly. Yeah.
No.
But until that gets fixed, I can't really judge him, you know?
I agree with you. I'm with you. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. There's a lot of things they can do offensively to help this dude. And Matt LaFleur now has to figure this out. He just does. He's got several weeks to figure it out. It just has to be ready by the playoffs. Just keep winning games and just make sure your offense is going by the time you get to the postseason. You can beat the Giants by 3. You can beat the Vikings by 3. You could beat the Lions by 1 for all I care. But if you're winning games and you're going to be in the playoffs, just make sure that sucker is going in the right direction the last 3 games, and feeling good about itself, and then ride in the playoffs and go. That magic carpet ride year with Aaron Rodgers, folks, I hate to break it to you, there was nothing sunshiny and rosy about that at this point of the season in 2010. Nothing. I was doing Sports Dog Radio. Nobody was on board. 15, 16 guys by the end of the year were out hurt. Nobody thought they were a Super Bowl team at that point. Nobody. Sparky in Menominee, Michigan. You're next on the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line. What's up, Sparky?
You guys are kind of comparing Love to 2 former Hall of Famers between Favre and Rodgers.
Which is impossible for him to live up to.
Exactly. And obviously he's still young in his career yet. But those guys had receivers, and I'm sorry, but Love does not have receivers, not even in the same league as what those other 2 guys did.
Correct.
And I mean, you see so many times in film back in the day, Rodgers would either do something with, tap his hip or touch his helmet. Adams or Jordan Nelson knew exactly what to do, where to go if they needed 5 yards for a first down, a curl route, a post route, whatever. They were on the same page. I don't see Love and those receivers even anywhere even close to that level yet. And I know that comes with time, But you kind of said something a little bit earlier about how last year with all the Packer receivers dropping passes.
Yep.
And it was awful to watch. What did they do? What did they do from last year to this year to even improve that? They went out and they got Golden. They got one guy who got hurt. They never went off. They never really went after anybody. Well, I mean,
we're just going to talk about it. Okay, hold on. So 2 years ago, the guys that were horrible at catching the football last year, right? Wicks had a bunch of drops. Jaden Reed, those guys that had a bunch of drops. The previous year weren't anywhere close to that bad in drops. So now coming into this year, these guys are catching the ball more at the rate like they were in 23. So I think what it was last year maybe it was an outlier where everything just kind of went to hell in a handbasket at one time for these guys dropping balls. Now, obviously, you had the drop from Bo Melton this week, which was a big drop and a big moment. But again, he wasn't on that 23 team. He really wasn't a part of the drop issue last year either. So that's still going to happen from time to time, but they're definitely catching the ball better than they were last year, Sparky. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Take a quick time. I'll come back. Charlie's Sounds of the Day coming up straight ahead. You'll want to stay tuned for that. And hey, it's that time of year, the sing-songy family gathering bakes goodie season. Wendy's Way to make the frosty of your holiday dreams. The Snickerdoodle Cookie Frosty Fusion. And with swirls of sweet, gooey snickerdoodle sauce, chunks of cinnamony snickerdoodle cookies. It's full-on cookie nostalgia. So preheat those mouth ovens because the Snickerdoodle Cookie Frosty Fusion is here. Seriously delicious. The iconic Frosty mixed with sweet snickerdoodle cookies. It's got to be Wendy's. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Wisconsin Sports Daily served up by Wendy's. Sparky here. Charlie, use it over there. Thanks for listening. I love this show. I love doing sports talk radio. I love it because I'm going to have different opinions. I'm going to get heated. You're going to get heated. And then we move on to the next day. We start all over again. That's why I love it. Ain't nothing personal. We could just disagree on stuff. It's all good. No worries. Back in the day, I'd take everything personal when I was younger. Oh, my God. Be up all night thinking about something somebody said or whatever. And now it's whatever. It's fine. All right, let's get to Charlie's segment of the day.
What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged? Will laughter ensue? It's time for Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, Charlie, use it. This one brought to you by Prize Picks. What do you got?
First up, we're going to head over to the Mina Kimes show, where Mina Kimes and Dominique Foxworth were discussing the Packers' anemic early down pass attempts and what needs to change in those early downs.
I think the question I have that I want to talk to you about is how much we blame Matt LaFleur. The offensive line was not holding up, but I think he fell into the trap sometimes play callers do with bad offensive lines, whereas he just simply believed he could run the ball and he couldn't. In the first half, on first and second down, 11 dropbacks, average depth of target. Can you guess?
7.
1.5 yards, Dominique.
Brutal.
I see people saying, well, he's worried about love. No, he's not. This is about the offensive line, which fine. On first down in this game, running the football, they average 3 yards a carry. The conservatism is not actually protecting your quarterback, is what I want to say.
When you have a quarterback, it's counterintuitive, but like it's obvious to you and me and people who watch this stuff. The best way to protect your quarterback is to throw when you don't have to throw. If you're not having success on early downs and you're in third and let's say 5+, it's like everyone knows that you're going to throw the ball and you're putting your quarterback in a more challenging position where there's no play action isn't going to affect anybody. It's not going to slow the rush. It's also not going to help to free people up. It just is a harder situation. If you're going to throw the ball on early downs, I get being afraid about your protection by throwing it short, but still the outcome can also often still be the same, where you gained 2 yards or you threw an incomplete pass. Now you're in a bad situation.
This is though where opponent comes into play too, right? Like there are defenses around the league where I would be like, yeah, it's fine. The Eagles are one of the best tackling defenses in the NFL. They're amazing against short passes.
Okay. Learn Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur wants to run the ball to set up the pass. Matt LaFleur is not a 2025 coach that wants to throw to set up the run. That is not who Matt LaFleur is. It's never been who Matt LaFleur is. I think that's what drove him crazy, probably about Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers wanted to throw to set up the run. He wants to run to set up the throw. And the other reason you run is what? To keep the guys from pressuring the quarterback. Don't let them pin their ears back. You want to know another way? Run a screen pass. Not some crap outside to the wide receiver, but run a screen pass to Luke Musgrave. Run a screen pass to your running back. Whatever. But they didn't do that either. They weren't trying to run screen passes and do stuff like that. Run a jet sweep here or there. Like there's other ways to do this other than just running inside zone for 4 quarters.
There 100% is other ways to do this. And I think with the Green Bay Packers, they've set up this whole mentality of, like you're saying, wanting to run the ball first to set up the pass. The problem is the entire league knows that now at this point. And you said, well, they don't want to be like the 2015 teams where you're throwing to set up the run. But this is like being the 2005 teams where you're running to set up the pass again. Now, that's just not what this league is at this point. What we've seen across the league is the best teams in the NFL have been able to do one or the other. And again, like I talked about with Sean McVay earlier in the show here, you have to be able to do that week on week and decide which game plan is going to be better. You have to adjust. And for the Packers, when you make your entire roster as versatile as you say you have made it, that shouldn't be that hard. And like you're saying, getting the ball into guys' hands in unconventional ways is how teams go and win games. I keep bringing it back to the Bears, but that's how the Bears, even though it's been bad opponents, have won all of these games, is by getting the ball into different people's hands in different creative ways.
Ben Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's why the Bears hired him. was to get that offense going. That is why he's no longer in Detroit and why Dan Campbell is now calling plays in Detroit again, because John Morton, who was the OC there, wasn't doing enough for Jamison Williams. So he went and took it into his own hands, and immediately that dude balled out the first game and could have been doing it all year had the OC been different. Charlie, what's next?
Next up, we're going to hear from the other former Lions coordinator who left for head coaching job, and Aaron Glenn, who went to the New York Jets.
Worst person dealing with the media I think I've ever seen in that position.
Yeah, this is probably the clip you're talking about.
I'm going to pass on talking about injuries. Since Rich, he's not here, has all the answers, so you guys can get all the injuries from Rich. So I go right into this game.
Are you a candidate for IR, or is that not something you want to
Ask Rich.
I'm asking?
Well, I'm telling you to ask Rich.
He's not here, though. AG,
Well, you better call him.
no disrespect to you or Rich, but we want to hear it from you.
You guys have been here. You guys have been hearing it from me, but now since we're just reporting stuff, that I haven't said, then maybe you should ask him.
Thanks, everybody. See how I'm doing.
That's not New York media. That's him just being a jag. Like that's all that is.
They were actually kind of nice about it. They could have been meaner.
And that was over what? Garrett Wilson's injury?
Yeah, correct.
And he reported 3 to 4 weeks.
The
and,
most important player on the team.
correct.
Yeah.
And because he reported it, and because Glenn didn't say it in a presser, Glenn's mad at him. And then the guy that reported it isn't even there to begin with. It's just child behavior. A guy that shouldn't be a head coach, that doesn't know how to deal with the media, didn't have to deal with the media in Detroit, and now goes into the toughest media market in the country, probably in New York, and clearly cannot handle it at all. And doesn't know how to handle losing, because they're losing, and he has no idea how to handle it, and he's being exposed a little bit as far as handling it the wrong way. Go ahead.
And last up here, we're going to head over to Matt LaFleur's press conference from earlier today, since we didn't get a chance to listen to it in the last segment. Matt LaFleur was discussing Bo Melton playing wide receiver on Monday Night Football, a topic that I don't think people are talking about enough.
I would say it's case by case. Certainly, we think a lot of him at corner, and he's done a nice job there. I know he hasn't gotten any game reps, but we see him every day in practice. So it was one of those things of necessity, I would say, last week, especially when you were dealing with 3 guys that were limited in some capacity. I think it's always a danger when you go in. You can't go into a game with just 2 healthy receivers. So that was just the case for that game. But I thought overall, I was really pleased with this effort. You know what you're going to get from Bo. You're going to get the guy that strains and does everything the right way. So I thought it was a really, really good performance for somebody considering all the circumstances going into that game.
Translation, he played bad, but he tries really hard, and we like him because of that.
Malik Heath must really be in the doghouse or something, why he's playing over Malik Heath and getting more reps than Malik Heath. But either way, Sports Talk, Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, presented by Paramount Plus, streaming November 16th on Paramount Plus. It's the return of Landman from Taylor Sheridan, co-creator of Yellowstone. Academy Award winner Billy Bob Thornton is back, featuring Academy Award-winning nominees Demi Moore, Andy Garcia, and Sam Elliott. Landman, new season streaming November 16th, only on Paramount Plus. Time now to get to our next guest.
What story did Sparky miss talking about today on Wisconsin Sports Daily? Don't you worry. Sparky's got you covered now. Don't miss Milwaukee Admirals hockey this season. Don't just buy tickets. Invest in memories at MilwaukeeAdmirals.com.
Joining us now on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law, owner of the Milwaukee Admirals, part owner of the Milwaukee Brewers, booster for Milwaukee Panthers basketball. I call him Mr. Milwaukee here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. You can see him streaming as we stream on X and on YouTube at WI Sports Radio. Harris Tour joins us. Harris, how are you, my friend?
I'm great, Sparky. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about the Admirals and where we're at. A lot of cool things coming up. You play the Manitoba Moose, and you pick that night to be night at the barn. That's kind of funny to me.
Our staff did a good job with that. We have a very creative group that I get to work with every day, and they thought this would be perfect night to do it. So it is. So we're going to have it, and it's been really successful the last couple of years. I remember when they brought the idea to me, and I'm like, I don't know, but I'm willing to try. And it was overwhelmingly successful. So looking forward to another great night this Friday.
And you've got Bluey coming. Is that right? On Sednick's Dog Day?
Yes. I mean, I didn't, again, another one of the ideas of our staff. I know how popular he is. And so this is going to be a lot of fun for everyone who comes down.
That's a picture of Harris Tur with Bluey. Like, that is what I'm here for.
I'll be working on that one. I'll send it to you first.
Yes. I want that picture. I want to see that picture. Admiral, so far this year, early on in the season, what are your thoughts on how they've looked so far?
We look good. We won this morning. We had a school day game, won a game in overtime. We've had a few of those already this year. But our team, especially defensively, I think we're really good. We've lost a few players to Nashville. They're over in Sweden about to embark on 2 games against the Pittsburgh Penguins. So they take a few reinforcements with them. And, one of probably their best offensive players so far this year was a guy who started out his season with us, Matthew Wood. He's got 6 goals, including a hat trick the other night for the Predators. So, we've lost some guys, but the guys we have here, strong group, and just starting to watch those young guys start to develop. It's really fun. One of those guys, Joey Willis, had a great goal today, and I'm just looking forward to, as the season continues to mature, I think you're going to see a lot of great young players on this team develop and be important parts of our team.
Always a fan when you could beat the Wolves, and even more of a fan if you're a fan of Wendy's like I am. When the Admirals score 4, which they did, 4-3 winners, it's a Frosty 4 at Wendy's Harris Tour.
Who doesn't love the Frosty, right?
Right. You get yourself a free Frosty for within 24 hours after the Admirals score 4. So make sure to get you participating Wendy's today for that. So again, next up for the Admirals, Manitoba Moose Friday night, 7 o'clock puck drop. And then on Saturday, 6 o'clock puck drop against the Texas Stars. One Brewers question on the way out.
Of course.
Are we going to add any payroll this offseason, man?
I think that it'll depend on what happens, like with Brandon Woodruff and Freddie Peralta, and how those things play out. We'll have an idea. One of those guys, Brandon Woodruff, next week, they gave him the qualifying offer, and whether he takes it or decides to take a pass will be, it'll depend on then what Matt Arnold can do around the rest of that infield and outfield. But, you do have guys coming back. You have Mitchell coming back in the outfield. What happens at first base, shortstop, I think those are things that Matt's got to address, and I think he will. I have full faith. Matt's just done and his entire staff has done an amazing job. And I know that payroll will go up next year, but that's all I know.
God bless you. That's all I needed. You had that, Charlie, right? He said payroll's going up next year, viral within 30 minutes. Thank you, Harris Tur. That's all I needed. I'm putting on your calendar now. I did this with John McLaughlin. I'm doing it with you. The toy drive back again, like always, Blaine's Farm and Fleet in Oak Creek, December 1st to the 5th for Children's Wisconsin and Robin's Nest. And I expect to see you out there one of those days with me.
Absolutely. It's always fun when we do that. I enjoy it.
Because then we get a lot more time than we have right now. Harris, thank you so much for coming on, my friend. I appreciate you.
Of course, Sparky. Thanks for the time.
Take care. There he is. Harris Tur, owner of the Milwaukee Admirals. Again, next 2 games, Friday night and Saturday night. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, served up by Wendy's. See Sparky, Fifer here. Don't forget about my friends over there at Potawatomi. Love me some Potto. Potawatomi is giving away over $300,000 in prizes. It's autumn action. Yep, you heard that right. Over $300,000 in prizes, courtesy of our friends over at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Autumn action runs November 1st through the 20th, and you can earn entries playing with the rewards card. Prize drawings happen on Thursdays between 5 and 8 p.m. If you win, you get to pick your prize from the prize board. All leftover prizes go into a rollover jackpot drawing. For more info, go online at potawatomi.com. Must be 21 years of age or older and a reward member to play. And that interview there by Harris Tour was simply amazing. We got what we came for, and that was him saying, I'm going to bring Tommy Wirtz on, him saying that they're going to increase payroll for the Milwaukee Brewers. He wouldn't give us a number how much, but he said payroll will go up.
Yeah. I'm hopeful.
I'm excited. Let's go.
Optimistic is
I'm not
strong.
expecting
Like,
50 million up.
Oh, I am.
But if they said we're going to raise it by 20, that's a pretty good player, $20 million.
Sure. Okay. Now, what's going to happen when my beer is $22 next time I go there? Because
listen, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Either you want them to go win, or you're going to be worried about your wallet. Pick. You don't get both. That's not how this works.
I'm just, look, there was a report, or not a report at all, but Cameron Maben, you saw.
Not a report at all.
It was not a report at all. It was not a report at all.
Retracted that quickly.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
Cameron Maben had just put the Brewers as like his top option for Bo Bichette in free agency.
Beautiful.
7 years, $210 million. No way.
Because you have all the guys coming. Made's coming. All these other guys coming. Right?
Okay.
Is that why you don't want to do it?
No, it's because I didn't say I don't want to do it.
You said
I just,
no way.
What's the number? Let's do the tattoo bet right now. Let's do it right now.
Do a good tattoo.
No.
Right.
Free agent, the highest free agent number. What is the number this offseason the Brewers are going to spend?
$22 million.
A year on a Playerson?
Brandon Woodruff next week. He's got to have an answer by next week. And then we'll know about $22 million.
I feel like that's cheating.
$22 million. You asked the question, I answered it.
I'm pretty sure it's $22.5 million is the
whatever.
number, right?
Either way, Tommy Wirtz is right there. Thought he could get me, but he couldn't. He's coming up next. Wisconsin Sports Wrap Up. Looking forward to hearing from Tommy Wirtz to give you the best of the day, plus whatever spins he has on all those topics. Charlie Usen, other side of the glass. That will do it for today's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your night. It's getting warmer. It's supposed to be maybe around 60 by Saturday, I think, around different parts of the state. Enjoy your night. Have a good one. Toodles.